Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TheMovieZone's New Who Zone, and we are here for the second movie of the Hood trilogy, AdULTHOOD, and we have some panelists joining us tonight. So, without further ado, I'll just get them on and get this show on the road. So, our first guest is familiar to everybody. It's the one and only Problem Being.
Hello, people.
Welcome.
Good to see you. Thank
Nice
you.
to see you. Nice
Looking
to see
forward
you.
to this.
And same here. And just as we started, I tried to put on my camera and mad like exorcist stuff.
Oh, your audio is cutting in and out. It's your microphone was. That's it.
Here we go. Right. Anyway, we'll sort out the camera at some stage. Oh no, there we go. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll sort it out now in a minute. We'll sort it out in a minute. But let's bring on our very special guest, director, writer, and actor, the one and only Noel Clarke.
Hello, guys and girls.
Nice to see you, Noel. Nice to have you on board. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Not too bad. Too bad.
Good man. It's the Noel verse. We got two Noels here.
Indeed.
Yeah. Everybody is joking about that. Yeah. Yes. Anyway, so obviously we're here for Noel Clarke's movie, and if you have any questions in relation to the movie, don't be shy. Put them in the chat. We'll stick them up on screen, and Noel's having something to eat there. Good man yourself. That's the way to do it. Everybody be munching out.
Peanut butter ice cream.
Oh, nice.
Oh, share it with the rest of the class.
I like a bit of peanut butter ice cream. That's my favorite flavor.
I'm pretty sure, because my wife is American, I'm pretty sure she loves peanut butter ice cream.
She have it on everything.
Peanut butter on everything. Yeah.
On
everything.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh, unbelievable. Right, well, guys, if you're already in the chat, you know what to do. Press 1, and then we'll get Lee to do the countdown, and then we'll press play, and we'll get on with this. And as I said, if you have any questions in relation to the movie, peanut butter ice cream, there's the wife there now. Told she loves it.
Hey, Melina.
So we played this from the beginning, right? So before the titles come up and everything, just black screen play, right?
That's it.
Right.
There's the first question for you there, Noel. Please, what was the whole idea behind the Hood trilogy, and what does it mean to love? What does it mean to love your work?
The idea was that that's where I grew up. That was the area I grew up. That was the type of, that's how it was where I grew up. And so it was like, I guess the equivalent, not the equivalent, but films in America like Boys in the Hood, where the writer has some experience of the area that they were living in. Those films are set exactly where I grew up, sort of opposite Grenfell Tower, just there, so that's what the inspiration was.
Making it speak to people in this country rather than the American way of doing things.
Yeah.
Gobby Guy in the chat, one of your supporters, saying, nice to see you, Noel Clarke. Pleasure to see you again.
Yes, Gobby, yeah. We have some mutual acquaintances, I think.
Yes. Yeah, as I said, there'll be a few. That's our dog, so she's gonna try to keep the dog quiet because he's an awful little barky one. So cool. He'll be fine. He'll be in the bedroom. Okay. And we have come to appreciate you more and more, even after Doctor Who. Maybe after the movie, you can ask a few questions about Doctor Who. He's okay answering a few questions on Doctor Who. But we'll get into this. We'll start now. So if everybody in the chat press 1? Just let me know. If
no, they haven't. Lazy gits. They haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, they're all excited. You see,
they're all excited. Too excited.
Jack, who is you're his childhood hero now. Will you ever attend conventions again? Says Jack. So Jack grew up with the 2005 era of Doctor Who. So he grew up with Mickey Smith.
Right. I appreciate that, Jack. Will I ever? I don't know, man. Like, to be honest, it's a whole different conversation, not for tonight, but you know, the way that I've been treated by some people. Like, do I want to attend conventions? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Honest.
Don't blame you. Don't
not
blame
sure.
you.
Yeah.
Maybe when
I mean, I would have to be
idiots have left.
but...
Yeah. Maybe when those idiots have left the fandom and gone on to terrorize other people, maybe then maybe it'll be different. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
we got a lot of ones in the chat. So Noel, if you
Right, go for
want to, like, I was just going to say to Noel, if he wants to at any point say what what was going on in this moment, or what his process was.
I'll talk through the whole thing. I'll talk through the whole thing.
Lovely.
Yeah, that'd be great.
If it doesn't
Fantastic. That'd be great because you'll shut Lee up for a change because anytime you bring him on, nobody gets a chance to talk.
Yeah. So those who haven't seen it before, you know, it might not be a proper watch because I'll be talking, but I didn't come to just sit here and watch it with you. I came to talk.
Yeah,
exactly. Some commentary. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Well, I can't wait to hear what you say. I'm fascinated by this because I do love this movie. I like all your movies. I've seen your other movies as well. So we will, as I said, we will be doing those movies on the channel as well. So you're welcome back anytime. Not to put any pressure on you, but anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome. Let's get
what the movies are, and you know, we'll see.
Right, fair enough. That's fantastic. Right, let's do this. Let's get this show on the road. Lee, go on, do the countdown.
All right, everyone ready? So, 5, 4.
Wait, on 3, 1 or on
0? We'll go. That's our thing. So we're gonna go. You press play.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Sweet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off.
All right. Yeah. So
you had some national lottery funding there.
Yeah. UK Film Council. I mean, that's kind of laughable, but I think it's kind of like the only film of mine they kind of put a bit of money in. So I wouldn't quite say that presents.
Have you felt that you haven't gotten enough support by the industry? Would that?
Oh mate, that's. I mean, honestly, that's you know, not that you're to know this, but it's a laughable question. Like none of my films, bar this one, really had any money from the industry, and this one only had it because they hadn't put anything into kidulthood or came in like a tiny bit on the back end, and people felt bad about it. So, you know, in answer to
why do you feel that is? Why do you feel that is? Do you think it was a political thing or a virtue signal, or?
Oh, was it? I'll say it. Was it racial? Was it a racial thing? Was it racially motivated? Do you think it's racially motivated?
Virtual signaling wasn't a thing at the time, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, I don't think it was racially motivated. I think it was a lack of understanding of the genre. Like, this genre wasn't really, you know, people didn't know that the kids, both black and white, would go for this sort of stuff because everything was very British, and it was like, you know, only second generation of people coming here, mostly, you know, some third, but generally. So I don't think the industry believed there was an audience for this sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, I was like, teenagers do all kinds of, you know, this is the generation grown up disenfranchised. They don't really know about their culture. They don't really know about anything. This is a girl I went to college with. We went to college 16 years. Rhoda Montemayor, 16 years old. And she's an actress now. She was also a Pink Power Ranger. That guy there with the bald head is Mylene Class's brother, Don Class.
Oh yeah, she's very talented as well.
Yeah. So
they hate talented people. Joking.
So you see Arnold Ocean there and Plan B, the rapper Plan B or
Well, he's gone on to do quite a few films now, hasn't he himself?
Well, interestingly, he after this he asked me about a short film he should do called I forget what the short film was called, and then that short film I said, yeah, do it, you got to do it, and that short film turned into a version of his feature Your Manners, which had a young actor called Ed Skrein who's now a massive movie star. So that's a little interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
And this literally was like 2 minutes from my house. This is exactly the area I grew up in. I saw stuff like this every day. You know, friends of mine were doing stuff like this, which was just good. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. But you know, where we grew up.
So do you feel that that had a like a serious sort of emotional or psychological impact on you?
Yes, but you know, this is all stuff you only start realizing like in the last couple of years when we've learned about trauma. You know, we're all just dudes and women, right? We didn't always know about this stuff. You didn't talk to people. It's only in the last few years people have talked about childhood trauma, this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. And so I was seeing that sort of stuff every day. Friends of mine were in jail, like, you know, et cetera, and that's what it was. And then you got this dickhead here, like, you know, you just that girl there is Rosie Holt. That's Nicholas Holt's sister. Nicholas Holt's sister, the actor. And Nicholas Holt, as you know, was in Kidulthood. I don't know if you know that. He played Blake in Kidulthood. And you know, sort of got on with his family, and he was great. And when this came up, you know, Rosie auditioned. She was the best for the role, and here she was. But it was a little bonus because it was his sister, and she was great. And you know, all of this sort of dialogue here was just how we spoke. Like people swore every 2 minutes. You just did like, and the naivety of people nowadays to think that teenagers still don't behave like this is ludicrous, regardless of the very loud ones who act like they've never so much as put a foot wrong in their lives. But teenagers still go out and party and hang out and drink and
he still can't get it up. He still can't get it up.
I don't, you know. Femi Oyeniran, really, he's a massive producer now, and directs movies. And we auditioned people from my my old college, and we found Femi there. And he's just brilliant. I think probably of all of them, the most talented, you know, and I mean that as like as a full package, you know.
Yeah.
This is Will Johnson.
You got a question here. A question here from Adam Dare. It says, was there lots of improv?
Not really. So all the probably there was more improv in Kidulthood. So Kidulthood I wrote in like 99, like 3 years before we even met the cast, 4 years before we even met the cast. But there was probably more improv in that one, like in terms of here's the script, these are the lines, you know, and people adding in their little bits and stuff like that. But that's your job. You know.
So this one, you would class this as more polished. You know, you're more polished.
Yeah, this one is more written, but this one's much more. The first one was completely written as well. But you know, I was already.
But you were a rookie. You know, you're new to sort of producing.
But also, I was already. Early 20s when the first one, you know, mid 20s when the first one came. Even though I played Sam 19, I was mid 20s, and so you know, we let the young people say some of the young people words. Do you know what I mean? And this was so this girl Scarlett, she was in EastEnders years before, and basically wasn't really getting a lot of work or opportunities or anything like that. She came in and she just smashed the audition, like absolutely smashed it. And so was cast. I mean, if I had a time machine, a lot of decisions I'd make differently.
Well, I think anyone would say that about anything we do, you know, like
I'm not talking about the work, I'm talking about the people involved in the work, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. See Camille Kaduri there, little cameo, little pop in, little Doctor Who reference. That was a Doctor Who reference for all the fans. Even back then, I was like, little thing like, you know.
She's great. I think she's fantastic. She's so fun.
And again, this is Ladbroke Grove. So this is where I grew up, born and bred. And it was just wanting to do films about the area we lived in. This part is not Ladbroke Grove. This is up sort of more North London, but
it
was a location that we could get. How did I make the transition being an actor to writing and directing? So all I ever wanted to do was act, and then I wasn't getting the roles I wanted, so I started writing. And then I wrote Kid-Hood, obviously, like very difficult journey to get that made, but then it got made. And then I wrote this one and gave it to the director, and he didn't want to do it. He was going to LA. And so the studios were like, well, no one can direct this. We don't know the people that know this world. And then one exec casually just said, unless you want to do it. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then I had to do a test, like a test shoot, 2-day test shoot. And if you pass this test shoot, you get your feature. If you don't pass it, you don't get your money. And I passed it.
Not well.
Brilliant.
You know, your work is testament to your ability, you know, your talent. So where did the character of Sam come from then? Like, is that based on your experiences, or is it someone you knew?
Based on my experiences. No, he's based on I won't say the name. He's based on a specific person I went to school with that was kind of a bully, like an older guy who was just kind of mean. Unfortunately, the person he's based on died years later. But it's based on him, but then all the experiences are just based on the experiences. I guess it's a combination of a few friends I had, you know, a few of those friends of mine.
Amalgamation.
An amalgamation. A few of those friends of mine went to jail for long stretches, like are only coming out in the last few years, recent years, but some of them are still friends of mine. The ones that really, it was like on my shoulder, like a bug. I really didn't notice that.
Because he took out your main man in the last film, didn't he? So that was
I think what this is about, really, this film is about, he says ironically, is about redemption and second chances. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's about, you know, like this guy's killed someone, like Sam killed someone. And I've got friends that have done that and have come out and are now working really good jobs, like really helpful, positive jobs. And it's like, it just goes to show that people do things when they're young. But these are the early days of cheap VFX. Watch this. Very cheap early VFX. We are a shoestring budget. You got this. What's the blood see down here?
It worked.
Oh, I don't know. But the point is that, you know, people make decisions when they're like young that they wouldn't make when they're older. And this is the style we wanted to do, is like drop frames and freeze them, and so you've got those sort of weird pauses, and then
That's an interesting because I was wondering, like, is this is this jumping? No, because you've got the sort of a freeze frame of the foot just suspended there, and boom.
Just drop frame and freeze some frames. Yeah, we just wanted it to just be sort of less relentless, or, you know. And then this shot here, the upside down shot, I wanted was Brian Tofano. You know, he shot Quadrophenia. Was his idea to just kind of get this as you walk away.
That's cool.
And just give it a bit of boom, hood goes on and you're out, you know.
This must have kept you quite fit going up and down those bloody stairs all day.
Oh, God, I don't even know if that was me running up there, you know, from that.
Really? Oh, come on, don't spoil the illusion.
I'm not sure. And so I made some stylistic choices here. You know, bear in mind I was still really, I mean, I wasn't young, actually. I was older than people thought, but definitely, you know, considering like I had no training in any way, shape or form, which, you know, a lot of trolls will always go, yeah, we can tell, you know, like, but, you know, honestly, I had no training in any way, shape or form, and just started taught myself to write and just started, you know, doing these things. But I made some stylistic choices, this being one. The jail stuff has got that sort of sepia tint to it.
Monochrome sort of,
monochrome, tint to it. And that was because I just kind of wanted to really give the flashback some difference.
No, it works. So, I mean, you've really thought it out, and I think it really shows that you've obviously watched quite a lot of movies in your time, and you've kind of got the style in your mind.
Yeah, I had a style in my mind. Let me tell you. So I grew up watching When I realized that I couldn't really see films that represented what I thought represented me, I grew up watching like a lot of American movies, a lot of American indies. Like I was watching, people talk about Ang Lee and they go, "Oh, Crouching Tiger." I'm like, mate, I was watching Ice Storm, with Ang Lee, with Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
When they had the Key Party and Wonder Boys and Pleasantville and Mexican films.
Ice Storm is a great film.
Yeah, it's a great film. I was watching Mexican films like Amores Perros and Etemama Tembion and I was watching, French cinema and Spanish cinema, and I was watching. I didn't see anything for me that really interested me in the UK. I'll be honest, I really didn't.
Yeah.
And so, oh man, every film I watched was either American indies, like everything, like Todd Solondz, storytelling, happiness, like early Philip Seymour Hoffman stuff, or Spanish or French or Mexican, which was all a mold of all sexy stuff. Like everything was like everyone was like,
And the UK, you really only had sort of like the sort of any sort of
Morty Vicar, that sort of
or if it's urban stuff, it was more your sort of Guy Ritchie sort of gangster, white gangster thing. That seemed to sort of be a big thing at one point.
Yeah. So that was another little stylistic thing I wanted to do. That sort of push in there to go in as he was going there, just to kind of like focus on these two boys as he walked by. I tried to do a few little things. This is me finding my style when I was young. But point being is all I did was watch Mexican, Spanish, and those films are all very violent, very racy, like French stuff, like La Haine, Irreversible. You ever seen the film Irreversible?
Have you seen Man Bites Dog? Man Bites Dog. That's a really good French film.
All the films I was inspired by were those films.
You got Nicholas Horton in the chat says, "I remember when Noel Clarke was in Auf Wiedersehen, Pet."
I was, I was. Playing Wayne's son, Wayne.
You must have been a fish out of water on that one, surely.
Well,
Geordie accents.
It was interesting. I mean, it was just the most amazing job, apart from one person, but like it was the most amazing job, to be honest.
Yeah. I remember the original, from the early 80s.
Yeah. But you see, here's the thing, even now, like they just make a joke about Mr. Randall, your teacher, and it's like that's a homophobic joke. I'm not homophobic. Yeah. They're not homophobic. But
that's how it was.
It's 2008.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the jokes you can make. So that road they just cycle past, when you look down the road and see the trees, that's a road called Bassett Road. And my whole life, I used to walk up that road and just loved the way the trees were symmetrical. And I just always wanted a shot of people going past it. And so I just put that in.
That's nice. So you really thought you got a very visual artistry. Like you got a visual. Yeah.
People don't think so, but the moment, when I write a script, I see the film. I know the poster, I know the trailer. They can all change once distributors get involved, studios, but I have a vision of what they should be. Do you know what I mean?
And there's a young Jacob Anderson there, looking really young.
I think this is his first feature. I'm not sure. It was definitely Plan B's first feature, and maybe Arnold. I'm not sure. Arnold, who played Henry, who wasn't in Kid Adulthood, but then is in this one, and it ends up in Brotherhood as well. But Plan B was, so Plan B, he was very grateful for this, and like we're not mates. Like he doesn't, never comes around my house or anything. But he's a very sort of, odd isn't the word. It's a very sort of introverted guy. People wouldn't realize because of his music, and very quiet, very thoughtful, very, very intense in a way. And he came and did 4, 3, 2, 1 after this film, and he was he's like, that's your favor back. You got me started, Adulthood. This is your favor, and then he just sort of went off and did his music again, and made his things, and nice kid. Probably not a kid now. I mean, I'm old, so he must be pushing 36 or 7, I think.
Doesn't time fly, eh? So how'd you get Mr. Royalty himself, Danny Dyer, and
I asked him.
Right.
I just asked Danny Dyer. Danny Dyer was kind of like the white equivalent of me on the east of London. Do you know what I mean? Of just the sort of geezer, and I was sort of like the sort of like West London sort of like people kind of like, who's this little rude boy, or whatever. And I'm an actor. I'm not really a rude boy. I wasn't it. Never was. I grew up around those people. I was. It's funny. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine 2 days ago, and we were talking about the fact that I grew up in the cesspool, in the middle of all of that stuff that they were doing, all those things my friends were doing all the times. Like, I'm talking bad shit, and I never did it. And we were really trying to understand. I said, if I could bottle that, not doing it, if I could bottle that, I would give it to every teenager. And then my wife was reading a book that said, your spirit chooses your parents before you're born. Your spirit chooses your parents based on what your parents need. And I know this sounds like this doesn't connect, but essentially, my mum, every man my mum's ever met, and not just boyfriends, like even like family, like they disappear. And then I'm born and I'm there and I'm living in a place where I could do all these bad things. And yet I'm the only person out of all my friends that doesn't do them. And I never understand why. And it's like your spirit chooses your parents based on what you need. It's like, obviously, she needed someone that wasn't going to disappear. And it's weird, right? Freaky. Anyway, so I wrote to Danny Dyer, wrote him a letter. And I said, look, man, it was something along the lines of, I'm just a boy from West London, you're a boy from East London. People think we're similar, you know, I'd love you to come and do this film. You're a star. I'm not. It would just be a cameo, but I'd love it if you could grace me with your presence, blah, blah, blah. And he said, yeah, he came and done it.
Sweet. Seems like a nice guy.
I mean, he's all right, yeah. I mean, he seems like a nice guy. I mean, do you know what? To be fair, I think now he's a lovely guy, and he was lovely to me. Like, he was lovely to me. Like we didn't like tug each other off and exchange like numbers after. Like,
Are you sure?
Yeah, positive. Trust me.
We want proof.
That would have been in there as well, wouldn't it? Would have been there as well. Do you know what I mean? We were mates, but we were mates, but we didn't become like friends after this. You know.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know.
I saw him in a great British horror movie a few years back called Severance, where
he's great.
The movie is based on him and his work colleagues, and you go to, I think it's Croatia or something, and a lot of stuff starts happening. It's actually not a bad movie.
Yeah, it's all right. And we did a film called Doghouse a few years after this. So Madeline Fairley at the time, I don't know, I'm sure she's married now, whatever, but actually, why I'm not sure, I don't know. But Madeline, it's great, Madeline, and she was the girlfriend in Kidulthood, obviously, and came back for this. And she had a crush on Danny at the time, so I think she was well chuffed that Danny got to play her fella.
Now in Kidulthood, you had like I can't remember the color. I've got a really shit memory, but like there was a girl who had like very middle class parents who were very sort of hands off with her, and she was really sort of
that's right,
screwed over.
She's the one.
I thought you did that so well, because I think there is such a disconnect with certain middle class white parents who just don't really sort of engage with their kids.
I think middle class all parents. You know.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because
certainly with them, you know, I would say, I
think it's just real, and you know, I don't know, you know, where any of you guys live, but in this particular part of London where I grew up, which people will say, you know, Ladbroke Grove, Ladbroke Grove or Trellick Tower, but the whole borough, Kensington and Chelsea, is Notting Hill, right? Is considered Notting Hill. Is you get like council estates across the road from £6 million houses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So
that's just madness.
So these montages,
that's the thing with London, isn't it? You've got like you've got very, very wealthy areas right next door to like very council estate areas, and it's so thrown together, isn't it?
Yes. So these montages, that montage here, this one here, was inspired by. There was a hospital drama called, I don't know if it was Grey's Anatomy. I don't know if Grey's Anatomy was on, or I don't know what, or Chicago. Anyway, there was a hospital drama that used to come on, and the DVD cover showing all the actors had squares in it, like overlapping squares. And I said to the editor, I want a montage like that. That hit. And so that's why that montage was there. And every montage I do in the film is inspired by something that I saw out or something that I was doing. There's one later on which slides up and down, which was based on the iPhone had just come out. The iPhone just came out, like when we were shooting this movie. And it was the first phone. You could touch the screen and it moved up and down. And there's a montage later. I said to the editor, can we do that? And there's a montage later that's based on the iPhone. It's weird.
Ah. That's riding the wave there. Zeitgeist.
Yeah. So this obviously is, I'm trying to find Jay who's after me because I heard Jay's after me. And so I'm trying to catch up with all the kids from the last one.
So what's Sam's motivation now? Now he's come out of jail.
Well, he just wants to have a peaceful day, but obviously that guy came after him at the cemetery.
Yeah.
So now he's trying to find out who sent the guy, and so he knows that it's one of the kids that he killed their friend from the last movie. Yeah. So
what was he thinking when he came out of jail before he got stabbed? What
probably just like, I'm sorry I done that, because he goes to the graveyard, doesn't he? But he's followed. I think like most.
There is remorse there. There's remorse there.
Remorse, yeah. I think like most people, not all, unfortunately, but I think like most people that do that kind of stuff, they feel bad, and he comes out and any plans for a 4th Hood movie? No. There's an evil producer who extorts me every time I try to make one, who owns the rights to these. And he owns the rights because he didn't do anything wrong at the time, because when you're the producer, you take the rights. Yeah. But he owns the rights. So like, every time I attempt to make anything, like he tries to take 10, 15, 20% of the budget, like some evil, like just malevolent evil guy. And so I don't even ever want to deal with him, to be honest.
Yeah, that's such a sad reality. It's the same with the music industry. It's like I had a piece of music used for a trailer for something, and I didn't know about it because they lost my code, and then it turned out that it being seen by like millions and millions and millions of people, and they weren't going to give me a penny because I didn't complain about it sooner. It's like, so if I get stuff stolen off me, and I don't complain within like a couple of years, then it's my fault. I get it. That's insane. Anything else that's stolen, it's treated as stolen. There's no time limit.
Yeah, I get you. So here he is. Here's Jay Robin. And unfortunately, I had friends that did this sort of stuff. There was one particular guy, I won't name him, but he used to scare me. Like, he was a friend of mine. Those friends of yours that would be like standing with you and just kind of be like, looking at you like, how you doing? And you were just so uneasy. There's always that one guy is like supposed to be your friend, but you always wanted him if you met other guys that weren't your friends. But even when he was your friend, you didn't want to turn your back on him. You know what I mean? Or he's the one that your mum would be like, oh, he can't come in the house. And you're just like, there's always one wrong. Always one wrong. You know what I mean?
So you feel like a lot of these sort of relationships and interactions between people in these situations are sort of thrown together through fear or through some misguided.
I think you're products of your environment. You're products of your environment. You grew up.
So a lot of it's survival as well.
Survival. It's funny. On Instagram, both my handles at Twitter and Instagram are just Noel Clarke, right? But on my Instagram, I put up I think it's a 2-pack one. It says some people. What does it actually say? It says people who are raised on love see the world differently from people raised on survival. And I think that's you know what I mean. These guys here, like these characters, like Jay, like Sam, whatever. They grow up like you grow up where your parents have left, or your dad's left, and the councils have put your immigrant parents in these certain areas, and you're just not getting opportunities because they're just not there. Not just for people of color, for white people, they're just not there. And so there's trainers you want, you take them. Do you know what I mean? Or you rob someone to get the money to buy them. You know what I mean? That was back then, right? And everyone, people like these films are abhorrent, blah, blah, blah. This still happens now. These young kids are still doing stuff like this to each other now. Like, unfortunately, these films are as relevant today as they were 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's a sad reality. That is a sad reality.
Yeah, because governments and councils and journalists are more interested than slating the movies and looking at the real problems.
Well, they you know, they love to pontificate, don't they, from up on high in their ivory
you guys know who
towers.
that is, right? You guys know who that is.
Know.
Sorry, you know who that is, right? Bald head there. That's Nicholas Briggs, voice of the Daleks.
Nice one.
And the Doctor Who fans that are in the audience.
I met Nicholas Briggs. He came to no, not Nicholas. Oh, hold on. Nick. Oh, I'm thinking the wrong thing. Nicholas Briggs. Oh yeah, Big Finish.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
That's it. He does the Daleks in the main shows, though, doesn't he? Like in the main show.
Yeah, RTD is
different
back
side
again.
To him. Yeah. So this scene was interesting as well when he comes out here, because I told the actress, I told her, when he comes out, you're in such a mood that you don't want anyone to put their hands on you, right?
Yeah.
You don't want anyone to put their hands on you. You're in such a mood. And I went and spoke to Nicholas, directing him, and I said, look, man, you're a manager who cares about your staff. So when you come out, just put your hand on her shoulder and say, listen, everything's going to be okay. And just make sure she feels comfortable. You know, she's your staff member who's being attacked. You want to make sure she's all right. Just put your hands on her shoulder. So watch here with the two different directions. Look what happens here. Watch this. So watch this. Here he goes. She like shrugged him off. Put your hand. Shrugged him off. Put your hand on her shoulder. Make sure she's okay. And then every time he does it, she shrugs him off.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love doing that. Like, you give someone one note, you give someone the other note, and kind of just watch it play out. And for me, it just looks so much more real. You know, with him trying to comfort her and her, you know, I feel like if they had to naturally do that, it wouldn't have looked as good. You know, but me telling her, don't let him touch you, and me telling him, make sure you comfort her, make sure she knows you're here for her. Yeah. You know, it just.
But she's so good. She is so good.
Yeah, she's good. Actually,
she was good. Yeah, she was good. Actually, I can never take that away. It was a good performance.
Yeah.
Femi. So a lot of people. I mean, look, I'm jumping forward here. A lot of people ask me, because in the next film, it's not quite a spoiler alert, because nothing happens in this one that could spoil it. But in the next film, that woman is Sam's wife. The woman that's with Femi there, with Mooney there. And everyone's like, how did that happen? And I'm like, it's 10 years later. They live in the same area, man. Like, it's 10 years later.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't have met somewhere and go, do I know you? She wasn't intrinsically involved in the story. So she could have just met him at some point later on. And, you know, but also Shanika. So I wanted to bring her back. But a lot of people give me grief about that.
Oh, I mean, look, that's like real life. I mean, like,
real life.
What
do
you want?
Yeah.
Sorry, Noel, the other Noel. I've been waxing lyrical. I don't know if you want to say anything.
Well, you've been talking too much.
I'm good. I'm
sorry. There's a question. What is the project you are most proud of that you've made?
That is a good question.
Probably Bulletproof. I think, or some of the later stuff, you know, that we were just getting into, like The Drown on the Channel 5, which I wasn't even in, but our company made it. Bulletproof. I mean, Bulletproof is groundbreaking on so many levels, like just absolutely unreal TV, just nothing like it since. And then, you know, they cancel it for fucking horseshit, you know, nothing, basically. But, you know, probably that.
TARDIS Time says, Noel, what was your audition for Mickey Smith like? Matt, I don't know what that's saying. Can you see any similarities between him and Sam? I can't.
Not really. I think Sam's the antithesis of Mickey. I mean, the idea is that Mickey grew up with his grandmother, isn't it? Like his mum and dad.
What about Ricky?
Oh, she was great as well.
You know, and
what about Ricky, the parallel universe Ricky. They
probably still not anywhere near Sam. Like Sam would say, "Boo!" They would run. You know. And obviously later on,
Mickey's a bit of a softie, really.
Yeah, at first, you know, freedom fighter Mickey probably.
Oh hell yeah! When he with Martha as well.
He wouldn't run, but here's the interesting thing, right? You know, freedom fighter Mickey's like, he's fighting aliens and stuff like that. there's not more dangerous than a lunatic on the street with a knife. Do you know what I mean? So like,
yeah, true.
Regardless of
how alien do you want to get? You know, that's pretty alien. You know?
Do you know what I mean? Like, so, what's it like to watch yourself on screen? Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Like, I think it's how you learn. You make mistakes, you learn. You know, people have, without realizing it or without getting any sort of credence or credit like you would get in America, like people have basically watched me grow up on screen. I've been on screen since I was 21, I think, 21, 22. You know, up until 45. Like, it's 20 years.
How did you get started? What was your first move?
I got we were talking about audition for Doctor. Oh, I'll get back to that. I got Ricky Beadle Blair. A guy called Ricky Beadle Blair got me an audition for his show, Metrosexuality, and that's how I got that job, and that's how it started. Going back to the audition of Doctor Who, there were some big actors. Well, there were some now huge people that were in for that same audition as me.
Wow.
Like, shall I mention names? I don't know if I should mention names.
I have to say, I couldn't imagine anybody else though playing Mickey Smith.
You say that now. I'm going to tell you afterwards who the two people that I saw on the day were, because I know if I say the names, it will get picked up in the thing and it will cause a whole thing.
Yeah.
So you
can tell us in the private chat.
Yeah, I'll tell you in the private chat. Oh yeah, I'll tell you, and then you can we can show your amazing.
Yeah, I will just.
No way! Oh, thank God for that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They were both there on the day, on the last day.
Definitely definitely not the first name. I'm sorry, but
no way.
He's but those two were there, so I think it was down to us three.
Wow.
I think it was down.
In fairness, seriously, I'm still glad you got the part.
Yeah,
me too.
As great as the second actor is there. I can't see it. He's a fantastic actor. I loved him in Four Lions. Fantastic film.
I don't know what you're talking about. You can't mention who they are, so I don't know what you're on
about. Oh shit! Sorry. Anyway, work it out. Yeah. It could be any number of people in that wonderful film that I just mentioned that you've forgotten about in time.
But we got a couple of more Doctor Who questions. We leave them till the end, yeah. But we'll leave them to the end.
Focus on
this is fascinating listening about the movie.
About this, right? So talking about the film is like these sorts of scenes here is like when you live in these areas and where you know police and all that can't always stop these crime. Is oh look, there's a split screen thing again. I wanted to keep the theme and not just be like, you know, not be consistent. But another thing is, excuse me, when things happen in these areas, it's like the kids just want to get revenge.
Yeah,
you know, I think there's not enough being taught about stopping retribution and stopping going back to people and all that, because that's how it becomes a never-ending cycle. You know, people just hurting people.
Would there be peer pressure involved, you know, because the street cred and all that? Would there be kids,
100%, because if you didn't go back and do something, then you were like, you get called the P word, bro. You need to go do something, man. You know what I mean? Go do something. You got to do it. You can't show your face around here if you don't do something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get that sort of nonsense. You know, so here we have AdULTHOOD playing my mum. Obviously, she was in Doctor Who, I think. As
well, yeah, she was.
Well, I think we're in the same. No, we're not in. I don't think we're in any of the same episodes because.
Martha Jones is mum.
In the season before that, she plays a Catwoman, doesn't she? One of the cat.
Yeah.
I think I'm in that episode because it might be New Earth. No, it might be. I don't know what season 2, Ep 1 was when they leave.
Season 2 was New Earth. Yeah, it was. Wasn't the first episode New Earth? I think it was. Tooth and Claw was the second one.
And they leave me behind and they go off somewhere. Anyway, she was one of the cat people, and then obviously she played Martha's mum. Martha, I love Freema, so I'll say that.
Yeah, she's great. I think Scottish Stavros in the chat is a big fan of Martha's there.
Oh yeah.
He loves Freema like nobody's business.
He does. Yeah.
not given enough of an opportunity. But I think there were.
Oh, she's wonderful.
There were forces at work that I won't talk about.
Well, same as everything else. Typical.
Yeah.
She was great in Sense8 as well.
Yeah, highly underrated. I think now she gets the credit that she deserves now. But she's
hell yeah,
always been fantastic.
Oh, she's a favorite companion in the Doctor Who. I can tell you, in the Doctor Who fandom, they love her character. I think she's one of the best new Who companions, actually, up there with Catherine Tate. I think in that series she's very underrated. I think she's brilliant in that.
100% underrated. I think Mickey was as well. If I'm honest with you, like I feel like.
Oh, you were hard done by, mate.
But the character development of your character, Noel, though, from where he started off, where Mickey started off to where he ended up, the character development, the character growth was there. Like, it is a pity you weren't in it a lot more, I have to be honest. I would have loved to see it in it a lot more.
So here's the interesting thing, some tidbits that I can tell you before we get back to the film, which I know we're just nattering, is that I was only supposed to be in 3 episodes. It was only supposed to be like Rose, Aliens of London, World War III.
Right.
And when I got there, Russell liked me and we got on really well, and I think people liked me despite what you hear now. People liked a lot, and I got on with everyone and blah blah blah. And Russell said, "I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to put you in 11." Which wasn't written. 11 was left blank because they didn't write it because they needed to see what they were going to do, but they knew what 12 and 13 were going to be. And then he put me in Boomtown and put me in whatever 12 and 13. And so I wasn't supposed to be there. And in season 2, I was asked to be in the whole season. And naively, I had some people telling me there was a movie coming, and you got to be this big movie. And I remember this guy putting pressure on me, going to go and. Wait, you're going to do season 2 of that instead of doing this big movie? And I was like, yeah, I want to do Doctor Who, man. And he was like, you're not going to do this movie. And I was young. I was like, oh my God, how can I not do this movie? Oh my God, but I need to do Doctor Who. And so then I was like, spoke to Russ and I said, can I do X amount of episodes? And he was like, yeah. And that's why I'm only in X amount of episodes in season 2. And then guess what? The movie didn't happen.
Oh, no way.
The whole thing fell apart. The whole thing fell apart. And so therefore I basically lost out on being in the full season of season 2 or whatever, season 28 or whatever you want to call it. And then the movie didn't happen.
Typical, isn't it?
Oh man. Typical. I held that against that guy for probably 10 years.
I would.
Legitimately. Like 10 years.
I'd be going mad. I would.
You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first.
And then, and obviously, I came back for whatever the things were. The last little bits.
Yeah, season 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great seeing you with Martha at the end, and
yeah, it was good.
Saving the universe, saving the
and as fans, we were hoping that you would join Torchwood then with John Barrowman and stuff, because he was doing Torchwood at the time, and we were hoping that you two.
Let me tell you about that. Before we get back to the movie, which we're supposed to be doing, because right now she's going to see Alyssa, so the guy I killed in the first film was her boyfriend and the husband and the father of the kid. But let me just pause that. So, I was supposed to be in Torchwood, and so was Freema. That's why we leave with John. What happened is there's about a year gap between filming these things. When they finish, and so we finished, and we all are we're going to be in this, but we didn't sign anything yet,
right? Because
it was just like, well, you're going to be in this. You're just sitting there, you're waiting, you're living your life, your money's running out, you're doing other jobs. I got 3 movies. And I think Freema got, was it Law and Order she got or something? She got something.
Law and Order UK, yeah.
So we got some different jobs because you're an actor. That's what you do. Unfortunately, the moment we got those jobs, the schedule dropped and they said, right, now we're getting ready to start Torchwood. And we couldn't do it. Neither of us.
Oh, man, again. That's bad luck.
bad luck. Nobody's fault. But the scheduling, just the way it dropped when they were ready, when they were finally ready to go, it was like, we've got these. So that's what happened. I don't care now. I've not said that for like how many years. I'm in a place now, as you know, I don't care. I'll say whatever, because that's the truth. That's what happened. But that's why we walked off with John at the end. That was supposed to happen.
Man, that would have been. I'm just going to say that would have been great, because Torchwood was actually, because I actually do love Torchwood. Some don't, but I do like Torchwood, and yeah, when I seen you walking off, I did actually think, oh, those two are going to be in Torchwood. And she did, Friedman made an appearance in Torchwood, and she was brilliant in Torchwood. She actually ended up in Torchwood, and you were supposed to be there as well now. That annoys me.
And you know, I wrote an episode of that as well. That was one of my early writing gigs.
Really?
Yeah, episode 11, season 1, I think, Combat. It's me that's written that. So here you see his mum. This is, you know, a lot of mothers have to have these conversations with their sons, sometimes daughters, but I guess rarely with their sons, about the mistakes they've made and how violent they are and whatnot.
Oh, she's brilliant. She looks absolutely ruined.
And it's a big thing, Caribbean parents, they think, like, not all of them, obviously, but, you know, particularly the ones that I was raised by, and I put it into this character. The first thing she says is, I wish I went to church more, as if church would have stopped him from being that way. Do you know what I mean? But
it's a huge moral compass for a lot of people in the black community, Christianity in the church. And
I think in Ireland too, right? No, in Ireland too, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I was just keeping an eye on the chat there.
People think that, you know, if they'd gone to church more, maybe the bad things wouldn't have happened or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I mean, where I live actually is well, I'm not going to say it's as bad as as bad as London, the part of the what that's in the movie. But
point here as well. So this was an example of, in the first movie, Sam thinks he's so bad, you know, he's the bad boy, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to show you that you might think you're bad, but when you go to places like this, there are people that are a lot more bad than you. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? When you end up,
John White is in the chat, who's written some good articles about.
Oh yeah, this is that John the White fellow. That's
yeah.
I just want to say thank you for his amazing article thing that he did. Amazing piece of work, and without saying too much, probably more accurate than anything else you'll read.
Yeah. He's a pit bull, that one.
Yeah,
I wish he gets his teeth into something.
I wish I was allowed to have been involved in that, because I would have really told you some stuff, but obviously I can't do that. There's Grenfell Tower. So that right there is Grenfell Tower. That was unfortunately.
Wow. Shit.
And I lived in real life, lived opposite in those places just behind. I lived opposite Grenfell Tower my whole life. And so
I used to do a lot of film extra work a few years ago. We were in the coach early in the morning going past that after what had happened. It was just, it hit you like a brick. It was just wow, you know, that should never ever happen.
No, that should never have happened. That was terrible.
Those guys there were all real. That was my real barber. That was my real barber shop I went to, and those guys in there, they were not actors.
Brilliant.
They were not actors, those guys.
That's good, because you got that real level of authenticity. You can't fake that. You can't overproduce that, can you? You can't. You know.
There was a few of them that didn't want to be on camera. You know what I mean? So they weren't. But those guys that did, they were not actors.
John says, "Hi Noel. It was a privilege. It needed doing, so I did it. I'll look forward to hearing your side one day. But the Guardian made it easy to take them apart."
Well, I wish people had realized that way back when, and I wouldn't in this situation. But anyway, so now the boys are getting together to try and get me back because of killing the guy in the first film, and Plan B has been manipulated by Jay to come and get me and use his friend, who Jacob Anderson, to make sure we get me, not realizing, no one realizes at this point, I can't spoil it actually, but yeah, use his friend Jacob Anderson to come and get me. They don't know who they're after, they just know they need to get this guy. And of course, when they catch me, you're going to see what happens. No, will you ever write a book about your career? I mean, geez, I would love to. I would love to write a book, but, you know, I'd need to find a publisher that would even work with me, because, you know, when what happens, you're in this situation. Nobody wants to work with you, right? So, you know, you got, you know, I'd have to find a publisher. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm sure there would be some publishers out there, you know. I mean, there's a huge backlash to a lot of this stuff that's going on.
You guys find one. You guys find one for me.
We'll find one. If not, we'll make one, you know. And
no, because you know what?
Publishing is in anyway.
Like, making one sounds great, but you want it to have proper release and proper. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The moment you do
distribution,
it in that's the thing. Way, it allows them to give it no credence. So this was the moment. Watch it. You go to drop frames again. The little freeze, boom. The little freeze frames that we did at the beginning. You know, we've missed a few as we've been going through, but I tried to keep the consistency in the themes that I was doing as a director. I wanted to make sure that the thing had a style, and Latimer Road was my local station. You know, and for me, all these films were trying to hit an audience. I wanted to hit an audience, so they had to be on the edge. Like I wanted them to be violent. I wanted them to be sexy. I wanted them to be on the edge, because I knew. Remember when you were young? I don't know how old you guys were, but I remember when I was young, RoboCop came out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
RoboCop was 18. And I was probably 14 or 15, but I'll be damned, I wanted to see RoboCop, man.
I was the same. I was young. My parents would let me watch these movies. Like, we grew up, and RoboCop is a gritty movie, and it's ultra violent. 15
seconds to comply.
Right. So the whole point, you know, I buy that for the whole point of these films, you know, was to make sure that they just dropped below the 18. Like the first cuts of all these movies came in at 18 rating. And then the BBFC, they tell you what makes it an 18. They give you specifics at this time frame, that makes it go into an 18 rating. And then we just go through the edit, and I just take out the frames or the moments that made it an 18 until it dropped to a 15. And I know they hated it begrudgingly.
You had a bit of a what do you call it? Like a pretty gregarious shot there of a woman's the crotch area.
Yeah, of course. Well, now, of course, they'll be like, "Oh, he did it on purpose," you know.
It's filmmaking, for God's sake.
But the point was to make these films like drop on the border of that rating, because what I knew was when I was 15, I wanted to see an 18 rated movie. Yeah. So I knew that 15-year-olds would go see this. And I knew that if you were 13 and this film came out, you'd want to go see it because you want to be 15. And that's kind of what happened. And that's why the films made the money they made, because they're on the border. I wanted them to just be just there where you go, you think, oh, am I gonna see? Oh, I didn't quite see it, but I thought it was. Or, oh, is he gonna punch it? Oh my God, he does punch it. You know, that was the whole point of you know, and that's again coming from all the Spanish films. I mean, the Spanish films and Mexican films and French stuff I watched, they didn't even care. Like they would just show all sorts of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I knew in this country we couldn't do that. But I wanted to make sure these movies were just on the line. Like if for example this was supposed to be a PG, I would have probably shot a 15 and then just cut the bits out and just have it on the border. And that's
it's like my old guitarist used to say to me. He said, "You can't cut your hair long, so you put everything in, then you trim it back." You know? Exactly. If you don't have it all in there, then
exactly. That's right. You can only get all the styles you want if your hair's long and then you style it. If it's short, did you face?
Can't do anything with it.
Did you face any pushback when it came to quit? So the first one, remember, I didn't direct the first one.
Yeah.
No. And so. But I was there every day next to the director, and he was very collaborative and stuff like that. So there wasn't really a lot of pushback. With this one, not really. I mean, I probably would have pushed it more. I made it a bit more, so it had to be toned down. and then Brotherhood, which we get to soon. I know. Probably not really again, but when we ever get to that one, there's a massive scene that I cut out of that movie. That would be interested, and that was probably the most resistant.
Would you put it in a director's cut like most directors do nowadays?
I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to do that, my man. Do you know what I mean? To be honest,
bloody should have the right. Honestly,
yeah,
it gets on my nerves. All this backbiting nonsense. Yeah.
So, cancel culture has gone out of control, man. It's the bottom line. It has gone too far. It has gone too far, and it's ridiculous that
I'm all for like accountability, but you got to let people talk. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If people can't even talk, then I don't.
Well, the big question is the big question with this whole cancel culture thing is who decides? That's the big question. Who decides?
They.
Yeah, and who's they? That's the thing. It's like
them. They is them until it happens to them. Could you talk a bit about the soundtrack? Hold on. Could you talk about the soundtracks? The soundtrack. So here's an interesting thing. You're gonna find this weird. So hold on one sec. So he thinks that they found out who they're after, because Plan B knows it's me, but the other two don't know it's me. Anyway, soundtrack. Oh, take care, John. I appreciate you. I'll take you for. I don't drink, mate, but I'll take you for a beer one day. You can have a beer. I'll have a juice. The soundtracks. This is a really interesting thing. You're gonna think I'm weird. I don't really listen to music generally. Right. It drives me. I can't listen to music. I can work with the kids running around. I can work with the TV on, but music I don't really listen to generally. I couldn't tell you what's number one. I couldn't tell you anything. I don't really listen to music generally. When I'm making a film, I immerse myself in everything. Like I don't stop listening to music. I don't stop. Like it's the weirdest thing. It's like I drown in music when I'm making a movie. And so I pull things like inspiring for the soundtracks and stuff. With these soundtracks, I wanted to really highlight the British rap and grime and stuff that was coming up at the time. And nobody was putting in movies. Nobody had put it in movies. And in Kid Old, we kind of did that. And then in this film, we really did that. We really did that. And nobody was doing that.
Do you think things have changed? Do you think things have changed? Don't you think it's more representative nowadays?
Yeah, of course
you think you might have led the way there?
I think I did. I think I did. But the problem is when you say it, you get called arrogant, right? When you say it, nobody wants to give you your flowers. But if you go like, it's prevalent because I was the one that put it in movies, it's like, so arrogant. It's like, it's fact.
Yeah.
Because no one was really making these sorts of movies. So we immerse these movies in that sort of music. And it's not now prevalent because of us. It's prevalent because it's time. But in terms of movies, it wasn't really happening before that. Sorry, I got
there you go. People in the chat, they say, no, you're not arrogant. There you go.
Well, it's not though. I mean, like if Noel's movies and stuff that he did inspired other people, then that's not arrogance. That's just the fact of the matter. I mean,
people don't like you. They don't. When nobody gives you your due, so you say it yourself, then you're seen as a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think I love this scene, by the way.
There's a line between arrogance and confidence.
Well, there is. So here's the thing that I was thinking about recently is like, I've never believed that I'm better than anyone, because that's arrogance. When you believe you're better than people and you look down on them and go, I'm better than them. Yeah. Like that's arrogance. I've never believed I'm better than anyone. Occasionally. But I believe I'm better than everyone in terms of that I can be better than everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe I can be better than everyone, and I believe that I backed it up all the time. Now that there's a line. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Saying I believe I can be better than everyone is not saying I'm better than you. It's saying exactly. I believe I can be better than anyone. And that's self-belief, and you need to have that self-belief. Everybody should have that self-belief. Like if you said to Messi, "Are you the best footballer in the world?" If he says, "Yeah," he ain't arrogant. Neymar might disagree, but Neymar should say he ain't. I'm the best.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo should say, "No, fuck you guys. I'm the best." They should be. Do you know what I mean? You should believe
well,
it.
Muhammad Ali didn't have a problem saying it. You know, like
no, he didn't.
you know what I mean? And so I think that's the difference. Like any one of those footballers saying they're the best doesn't bother me. If they went, I'm the best, man, like Messi's a piece of shit, then you're arrogant.
Yeah.
At least you're doing something, whereas a lot of people do the talk but don't walk the walk. You know,
every time I said I think I'm better than I think I'm better, I was backing it up. Like the award they gave me, right? You don't just get that from not being right. And here's the thing about it too, is like a lot of people said, well, it was just tokenism. They handed it to you for token. Maybe it was, but even when they had to look for a token, they still had to find someone, right? You know what I mean?
I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that.
I don't believe so either. But my point is, even if you did have to find one, there was still only the person you still found was. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna find the you know. So,
anyway, better you than anyone else. Anyway,
this is one of my favorite scenes. Like Shanika is just brilliant here, and I remember writing the scene, laughing so much. Do you know what I mean? Because like we just. You know,
I like that she's giving him some right old sass here.
Yeah, and I remember telling this actor, let her speak and then pause and then say the line, and it'll be so much funnier because it's all about timing. There's a little pause. Oh, punch your girl, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's like it's that pause that gives it the humor. You know. You know, these were good times, man. Yeah. These were good times.
So this gives you a nice little trip down memory lane somewhere.
No, it doesn't. I hate that little prick. Like he's a scumbag, stalks my family and everything. Doesn't give me good time.
No, fair enough.
Not in the slightest.
But I mean,
but in terms of the time, so this scene, like again, was trying to be edgy. So the point was there where the things come off. Then the camera's going to move. So the audience think they're going to see something. The camera tracks. They think they're going to see something. And of course they don't. And that's the point. And the actress like didn't want to take her top off. So we let her keep her top on. And, I've been so many things they've blamed for me, but it's like, it's all horseshit. You know what I mean? Like we try to be as always.
Well, it's nothing you don't see in, other films, I mean,
but not all those directors have been accused of shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like people don't care. You go, you look at Guillermo, whatever it is, Snakeskin. What's the Shape of Water? And what's her name's got a muff out, like in the bath. You don't need to see that. But no one cares because he's a genius. So it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean?
Like everything that you've been accused of. That's the whole of Hollywood. But they've managed to silence all that stuff, and it's nice to sort of throw the odd person to the wolves, like yourself included.
Well, I mean,
it's like a token sacrifice.
It's not. It definitely is that. It's not the whole of. It's it's like there are people that just make films or whatever, and then there are people that really do horrible shit, and there's a line. Do you know what I mean? And all of Hollywood doesn't do that, and therefore the people that are just making films and occasionally might make a little mistake. It shouldn't be hung, drawn, and quartered. Do you know what I mean? They just shouldn't. It's like it's like you don't go after the some fallen angels and let Satan run off scot-free. You fucking go after Satan, man. You know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah, it's quite easy to get your pitchforks and your torches out and chase the newest trendy bad guy that without questioning. There's no. It's not a headline, and people go lose their minds. And they don't change their minds because they don't like being wrong.
She's brilliant. This is one of my favorite scenes, actually. This speech was just was in the trailer, I think and I remember when I was writing it, I saw it in the trailer, like, and the camera just coming down slowly into the character's face,
into her face,
into her face. Yeah,
she's got a great face. Yeah, I mean, she
listen.
Delivers. She's got a lot of empathy.
I honestly like. Her performance in this film was, if I wasn't the director I was, and I was some chosen one, She would have won a BAFTA for this film. Like, do you know what I mean? For her performance, and we would have been up for outstanding British film and whatnot.
I remember from EastEnders, you know, and she, you know, I don't watch EastEnders anymore, but like I used to watch it, and I remember her character in it, and I remember her as an actress, and she was always good on screen. But here, she's really sort of getting her own spotlight to shine somewhat, you know.
Yeah. She was great, mate. Like, I think this revived her like completely. Like, she went on to do loads of stuff after this, you know.
Good for her, yeah.
I mean, we definitely ain't mates, but you know.
Well,
I think some people. I think people. There are people. Some people, they get a taste of power and they just. Do you know what I mean? You know, and I think, you know, I'll say no more.
Would you say you're a much more sort of grounded sort of person then? Because I think this sort of shines through in what you're doing here. It's you like to be quite firmly fixed in reality rather than hobnobbing.
Yeah, I like my films. You know, what's interesting is that, you know, when I tried to do films like sci-fi films and all that sort of stuff after, like, it didn't work, and I realized that audiences want to see me do this. They feel audiences relate to me and want to see me be relatable. And so while I'm proud of films like Anomaly and Stories 24, in the grand scheme of things, they flop because an audience doesn't want to come home from a hard day's work and see me fighting a fucking alien unless someone Doctor Who. They don't want to see that. They want to see me screw my face and say some guy that's you know, smashed into my car, like, what the fuck you doing, bro? Like, do you know what I mean? That's what they want. And the amount of messages I have, I mean, I still get like about 1,000 messages a week in my Instagram and my DMs and all that. But the amount of messages I have where people just like, we just want to see you represent us. We want to see you do films that represent us. And it's not to say, and Bulletproof was sort of, how do you take an audience that's so used to seeing themselves as criminals or so used to seeing themselves as sort of drug dealers or whatever? How do you take that audience? How do you keep that audience, but take them into a positive space? And so Bulletproof was born because Bulletproof was like keeping the audience. We still say stupid things. We still beat people up. We still say bro, but guess what? We're police officers.
Yeah.
And suddenly you take that whole audience that loved all this stuff when you were just one of the mandem, and you're a police officer, but you're still one of the mandem. Yeah. And so you're broadening their horizons because you've gone from, when Bulletproof was first announced, people sent messages going, nah, bro, don't be cops, man. I don't want to see you as cops, man. Feds, I hate it, blah, blah, don't do it.
Yeah.
When it came out, everyone loved it. And suddenly, you got young working class kids. And if you want to be more specific, young black working class kids, but it's not just about race, it's about being working class, who suddenly were like, I can be a cop.
Yeah.
I don't have to be a drug dealer anymore. I don't have to be a rude boy on the street. I can actually be a police officer. And then Ashley's wife in the show, she's a lawyer. She's got these young girls like, man, I can be a lawyer. Do you know what I mean? Like, we took that audience on a journey, you know. We say, please, audience. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, you know, I think a lot of certain roles and things should be a sort of not like in a propagandistic way, but like in a way that you can create aspiration in other people. I think that's a really vital.
Yeah, but you know what? You're only allowed to make what, you know. People don't make. Like, do you think this is gonna sound weird because I love my films, but you think if I could have made a Spanish-speaking film about an old man making in a cake baking contest, I would have made that film. I've got a film called Cake, which I want to make, which is basically that, right? They wouldn't let me make that fucking movie. I had to make a movie like this to get a movie made.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And so
yeah,
it's like you only allowed, even now, like 2 years ago, Blue Story comes out, right? Everyone says brilliant movie. It does gangbusters at the box office. Ratman's doing well. Everyone's happy. Great. He shouldn't have had to make that movie because we made these 20 years ago. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We should now be making he should be making, and I know he is now. He's doing great things, but do you understand what I'm kind of saying? Like,
yeah, he should be kind of moving on from it.
Should be moving on, and it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't. And then the films that do, when you get the amazing working class or black filmmakers that do make different shit, they don't get the audiences because we're so conditioned to seeing ourselves as criminals or drug dealers or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And Bulletproof was different, man. It was like
so you kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you got the mainstream, like if you want to do a film, I don't know, a science fiction show or a film or whatever, that you're going to be seen as outside of your box by
stepping out of your lane. Yeah,
the big wig.
I mean, it's changing now.
And also the fans of your earlier work who did the more grittier stuff will go, well, you're betraying your class roots or your race roots or something like that. So you're really sort of squeezed, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. We were, but that's why that's why you had to do a Bulletproof, because once you do Bulletproof and you go to there, then suddenly you could be a secret agent. You could, and the audience will go with you because you've kind of, and that was the whole point. That was the whole point of that. And I think it was the number one show. They cancelled their number one show.
One episode. I mean, like, really?
Sorry, you seem to be very proud of Bulletproof. Out of all the things I've heard you talk about, Bulletproof seems to be, you're really proud of that one.
I'm proud of all of them, to be honest. But I think that was an evolution of all of these. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was an evolution of all of these. That was the progression of, like, all of these things here was I was still a boy,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Bulletproof was sort of a graduation,
progression.
Exactly. So now the boys that have been after me for the whole film, you can see, they see me here, they catch me. So I used to play football in those cages. I used to work in that sports center. And as you're going to see here, again, this is right by Grenfell Tower. And this is almost exactly where I lived. This is almost exactly where I lived. We just shot in the area I knew. In fact, to the left is
quite
Grenfell
symbolic,
Tower.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite symbolic, yeah.
Now, this is where you're going to see, like, Plan B's character has convinced this boy, when we catch this guy, you need to stab him because he knows that this boy is the most crazy of all of them. So he's like, but the guy's like, I want to see him first. And he says, no, just do it. And then
the anger and frustration is palpable,
Yeah. Now Plan B's worrying now because he's like, he knows what's going to happen.
Oh, shit.
Turns him over and it's like, he tries to set him up to kill his own brother.
Wow. And he knows he's oh, fuck.
Yeah, look how good he is. Look how good Plan B is.
Yeah. Very intense. Yeah.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is pure. That is natural. He was just a natural, mate. Just a natural. It's the slang. Someone says, "What do I think Sam is up to now?" Well, whenever we do Brotherhood, if you come and see that, you'll see what he's doing now. And then, as I said, I think that'll be it because I can't deal with that extorting piece of shit producer.
We hope you can come back for that, and when we do that next, if you I don't know if you grace us with your presence.
Depends how this one goes. Depends what flack I get tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Well, do you know what though? I'll just say this: you should just ignore it anyway, like what we do. I mean, they can't torture you unless you listen.
Well, I don't know.
Well, online, I know it's kind of different for you. I'm not trying to belittle the situation that you're in, but what I'm saying, I'm talking about the trolls. I mean, you can just ignore them.
The trolls that bother me, man. It's not them, is it? It's like it's the ones that can publish in
well, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, they're the ones,
Yeah.
So this
that was quite interesting. That's quite an interesting bit. The fast forward.
So this bit here is about being in his mind. He's like, he's just come out of jail and he's thinking, shall I do this? Shall I do this? And it's like the world around him is zooming while he's like thinking about everything he's done in the past. And then he decides, I can't do it. And these were the scenes that I had to shoot in my test shoot. In the test shoot that I did that you never see, it was these scenes. And so this isn't the version of them because you reshoot them for the movie.
Yeah.
But when I did my test shoot, these were the scenes. And I actually cast the same actors. So I had the same actors were cast. These three guys were cast probably 6 months before everyone else because I shot these scenes in my test shoot before we actually shot the real movie.
He got knocked out. I love that.
Yeah. I used to see that happen around my area. When I was growing up, that happened a lot. You'd see people just lying on the ground. Being knocked out. It used to happen a lot because I used to live in the south inner city of Dublin, and that's real rough now. It wouldn't be as rough as the area that you grew up in, but it was pretty rough. You know, you had to kind of put on a bit of a front as well to kind of survive. But
so then you can see that these two. Sorry to interrupt you, man.
No, go ahead.
And then you can see that these two were working together, and these two are working together, and you know she's trying to get whatever she can for that, and it's art imitating life. Life imitating art. Say no more.
So anyway. Darren Bradley in the chat's asking, what's your stance on police stop and search, particularly in places like London?
I was stopped and searched all the time when I was younger. No, that's not true. That's not fair. Not all the time. A lot of the time. Probably not as much as my friends. And I think the police kind of get to know you. So after you get stopped a few times and they're like, nah, he's a good kid or whatever like that. After that, they'd start knowing you. Like the boys around my thing were so bad. Like the police knew you by name. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So they would roll by in the car and be like, "You still out, Marvin? Go home." Like, no, go home, no. Like, you know, your mum's waiting for you, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like it was that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and I just was never.
You're a good boy.
I always knew that I was here to do. I don't know what I knew. I just thought
other things
more, Other things. So I just never wanted. As I said to you, I said to my mate, if I could bottle it, I just never wanted to get involved in that stuff. I just never got involved in that stuff. Like, you know, apart from standing outside a couple of times when friends went in, and you know, I just never got involved in any of that stuff. I wasn't interested. And there was a lot of peer pressure, like, come and do it. If you don't do it, you're this, you're that. And I was like, mate, I got comics at home and a Nintendo. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll go play. I'll go play Super Mario 3 or 1 was 3. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was Super Mario fan. Yeah, Super Mario 1. I didn't like 2, but part 3 was actually decent.
3 is beautiful. Yeah.
But they were the days.
Those were the days, yeah. I don't know why. And so Sam is like sort of based on the people I knew, and as I said, that one particular guy, and it's me. You know, I think I think people think I'm like this a lot. I think a lot of the stuff that you know, oh, he's a bully. I grew up in an area where you just were. You had to be strong. You had to be direct. You had to be like. If your friends were like, I like your trainers, he didn't mean he likes your trainers. He means I want your fucking shoes, bro. You know what I mean? You had to be able to. You had to be able to like, nah, you ain't having them. And so, you know, if you take that kid from that area where someone says to him, let's do this, and he's like, I ain't fucking doing that. You take that kid out of that area, and you fast forward 10 years, you know, you put him into a business meeting with some execs who go, oh, we need to change the scenes. And he goes, I ain't fucking doing that. Suddenly you're intimidating, like you're aggressive. And it's like, not where I'm from. I'm the good kid. That's just survival. You know what I mean? That's just survival. Yeah. But to people that didn't have your experience, it comes across a different way. So look at this, right? This is the iPhone montage. And this song is by Kathy, and she's the girl that was at the hairdresser, but watch. Slide across.
Yeah, it's very well done.
I love this, man. It was all the characters and where they were at that moment. But it was based on the iPhone, just you know, I know it's slow because I wanted it to fit that track. And she wrote this track specifically, but I wanted to really show all these characters really deep in their thoughts about what's happening in their lives, where they are, what they're doing, and you're heading towards the final showdown. But I wanted it to slide like the iPhone that had just come out. And that's why it does this. And if you look at like, he's gonna look up and then it will go up. And then she's gonna look. Does she do it there? Yeah, she looks to her left. It goes to the left. He's looking there, and he's going to look that way, and maybe he's going to look up or down, up, and then. So all of this was.
That's nice. Yeah.
Was specific. Yeah. It was all specific, apart from me just staring. But it was all specifically choreographed. She looks that way, look, then it goes that way. I know people think I'm some sort of random nut, but like it was all specifically. Is she gonna look? It's a bit late here, but does she look? Oh no, we didn't see that one. Yeah, but it was all about where they look and then how we're gonna move. So when I directed them, I made sure that each of them looked in every direction I needed to. So they would do the thing, do their action, then look up, do their action, look left, do their action, look behind them, so that I could then in the edit I could choose which ones fit which moments.
Nah, that's clever.
So this was, so there you have outside my the college. I actually went to that college, St. Charles College, and that's where we found Femi as well. And there you have Nick Nevin, actor called Nick Nevin, and David Ajala, who's plays Book in Star Trek, one of the new Star Trek things. But also, people don't realize this, but David Ajala, he's in Kid Hood as one of Sam's crew. And then he's one of the only 3 actors that are in all 3 movies.
Right.
And people don't even realize it. Because he's not a main character. People don't realize it. He's in Sam's gang in the first one. He's a community support officer here. And in the last one, 10 years later, he's a detective.
Wow.
People don't realize he's in all 3 movies.
That's nice. Nice little Easter egg there.
Yeah. And Nick Nevin, Nick Nevin's a director. He's currently directing like I think Rise of the Foot Soldiers stuff. You know, Rise of the Foot Soldier, you know, that sort of movies. He's directing those now. He's a good actor as well. Excuse me.
There's a lot of good actors in this. You know, there's a lot of people who've obviously gone on to do other things, but you know, it's quite a who's who, really.
Yeah, sorry, I'm missing some things. Did I enjoy Star Trek Into Darkness? I did. Super Mario Brothers, yep, love that. Blocks. Cops involved in the community, yep, good. Sorry if I've missed some of these on the side here. I don't see all of them pop up. And if you're paying attention, he was the guy that said, anything I can do to help you in jail at the beginning, let me know. And so this is where Sam calls in the favor.
Yeah, the scene with the uncle in Kid Hood, he was a frightening fucker, you know. He was vicious. Yeah.
Yeah, Cornell. Yeah, he's another one in all 3 movies. Yeah, he's in all 3 movies, and he was frightening. Now this Ed Skrein, who's in Deadpool, this is his song when he used to be a rapper. He probably doesn't want anyone to know that, but he was a rapper. And
they do now.
This was his track. And I got this track because obviously when Plan B was in the movie, I said, have any of your friends got tracks that have not come out yet? And he said, yeah, I know this guy called Scry, and he's got a wicked little track. And so we use it here, and then we use it in a moment as well when I get out of the window.
Ah.
Yeah, it's horrible. When I look at this stuff now, like robbing people, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when you're younger, you're a bit desensitized by this sort of stuff, and, you know, I'm just making a movie, but I can't think of anything worse.
To be in a way.
Because now I am that couple. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you're all middle class now, aren't you?
No, not anymore, mate. Not anymore.
No, you're good. Got it. I've seen a few basements like that. There's fucking wires everywhere and shit.
Yeah. So yeah,
squat.
A classic 80s fanboy says there, Sam is really clever in these scenes to trap all the bad guys in one place.
I mean, yeah, he thinks he's clever. I mean, mate, I don't even know. Like when I was writing this arc, I wrote this first draft in 7 days. This first draft of this in 7 days, and you know, some people have said they can tell over the years, but you know, redrafted it sometimes. But yeah, it was just what I tend to do when I'm writing. It's funny because I'm doing a thing on my Instagram at the minute called Blank Page the Pilot, and I haven't done it last week because of half term and I've been stuck with a baby. But I'm going to do session 2. But I plot all of this out before I start writing. Like I do not start writing a script until I know what the story is going to be. You know, some people go, "Oh, brilliant idea," when they start, and then they're halfway through, 3/4 they're lost. And I'm like, I do not start writing the script until I've plotted the points out like an alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yeah, till the end. Yeah.
You know, it can change while you're going, but As long as you've got a direction, it's easier to edit a finished script than to not write one at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's different process.
Because you can get writer's block. That's what I mean. What's good about you is you like to have a plan before you actually write out and out. You already have the vision in your head.
Yeah.
And then you put it down on paper. And then when it's down on paper, then if there's that you don't like, then that's when you do your editing. Yeah.
100. So this guy, Nathan Constance. Now this racist chat here, a monkey like you on my left. This guy, Nathan Constance, is a great actor. He was in London to Brighton, fantastic actor. And look at this, the road, we named the sign Compromise Avenue, which is...
It's got a bit of the Brandos about him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Now that look. That sign outside that said Compromise Avenue. The reason it was called Compromise Avenue is because I wanted like a huge crane to shoot an overhead shot when I came out of the window, and we couldn't afford it. And they wanted me to cut the scene completely. And I was like, I'm not cutting the scene. Like, I need to have him come out of a window. And so we called the street Compromise Avenue because we ended up compromising with each other.
Yeah, I wonder where that came from. Yeah,
and
sweet.
And we had to the window that he comes out of. We had to pay the people to cut their bars because it's a window that's low on the ground by the pavement. You know, people obviously, you know, you never know who could break in there. So it had bars on it. So we had to cut the bars, and then had to, you know, pay them to get the council to put them back in and all that kind of stuff.
Bloody hell! But that's still cheaper than the crane. So
yeah, of course. But it's all part. And so when I do run out the window, we didn't have the crane shot, but we have. How did we do it? The DOP was in the back of a car in the boot, strapped in, being bear hugged by a stuntman who was also strapped in, and the stuntman had straps around his waist, and then the car would speed off down the road, and then I would run around the corner. You'll see it in a minute, and I would run around the corner to. So it wasn't like a proper car with the arm or the fancy stuff. We didn't have the money for that, and it wasn't like an ATV. Didn't have the money for that. It's literally like some guy speeding with his Peugeot, with the DOP in the boot with the boot open, sitting in the boot, stuntman holding him like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And me running. And
I'm quite engrossed with this bit.
Yeah, so
it's all kicking off now, isn't it?
This part's deadly.
Can't go up. Boom. Locks himself in the bathroom. Doesn't know how he's going to get an armed police. Now, the problem is, if he gets caught by the armed police, he's going straight back inside.
Yeah, because you're only out and you behave, don't you, when you're out?
Yeah.
TARDIS Time asks, Noel, what would be your advice to an up-and-coming...
we'll tackle that one after.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe after this scene. But yeah, TARDIS Time, just remind us that question.
So you can hear the music building now, right? It's coming back. Yeah. It's coming back slowly, that track again. And this is where you're getting all the bits where she's like, you know, kind of saying, like, I want to be together. If you want to hang out, you know, we can do that.
It's a bit like Kid Up Holding it, like all the good things come and it just at the wrong moment and it all falls apart, doesn't it?
Yeah, so she like it's just people that are lonely. Like all she says is like, let's go cinema. She's not like, let's get together. Like but even that. So now he sees the window there.
Yeah, ran past the two coppers.
And but he knows like, okay, look, I can't be wearing the dark blue, so I'm gonna put on the light blue. So when they're looking for someone, they look for someone with light blue. That lock's not gonna hold, they're kicking. Whoa. She wants to clean her life up if she can come, boom, and he goes. It's not America, so they won't shoot. Boom. And here, so the car now speeds down the road, and then I just get behind it like that. And so this is literally, and then that's a different shot, but the original one, you know, it's literally they just speed there in the boot and, you know, gets down the road, takes the light blue off.
Very clever.
Okay, bye. Fine.
And this here, we didn't pay for these. These were real police cars that were speeding down the road when we were filming, and we're like, quick, shoot, there's real police coming. So we just shot because there were real police like going after some people, and then so we just luckily got them and shot there. And then of course this is the showdown between Jay. Someone says, what would you have, if you could go back and change anything from these films or do anything different? There's a few fucking people I wouldn't cast. I can tell you that much. I can tell you that much, mate. Go back in time.
Brilliant.
I mean, the disdain is so real that sometimes I'm like, I wish I never made these films just so I wouldn't have to meet some of the dickheads involved. Like, honestly, do you know what I mean? As much as I love them, sometimes they're the bane. They've become the bane of my life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I wouldn't.
That's life. That's life.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I love this shot. The shot where the camera just pans around.
The camera pans around, circular track. So what we did was use a circular track and then just ramp it up. So literally, it took a while to build that track. And so the camera, and after that point, this was a way of doing bullet time without doing bullet time. Do you know what I mean? It was like, because Matrix was not long out, right? It was like, how do we do bullet time without doing bullet time? It's like you stand very still and we ramp it. So that circular track. And now the camera will never really stop. It stays on the circular track and it kind of does slowly go around the whole time. If you look at the background there, you can see it slowly moving. But actually, or maybe it's not this shot, these shots. Yeah, it never really stops. We stay on the circular track here. But this is, again, art imitating life. People that just want to be you, you know what I mean, and can't. So therefore, they have to do whatever they can.
Envy, a lot of envy.
Yeah. Of course.
There's a lot of lost hopes and lost everything, really.
This I think was. I think this is the film people kind of, I think, see as third in the thing, but I actually think this is the best movie.
Right.
It's the best like if you took us all out and was an American movie, this is the best movie. Do you know what I mean? Kidulthood is loved because of the nostalgia. And it's brilliant, but it's sort of like Lahane. It's kind of like kids. It's not like a crazy story, whatever. It's pretty simple. This is the best movie, but the third one for me is the most well-made film, and also is my favorite because as an adult, as all of us that are now adults in your 30s will relate to the third one the most. Because actually it suddenly becomes about the younger kids in the generation just act differently to us like we did to our parents. You know what I mean? So into Snoop and NWA or whatever rock music it was, Oasis, Blur, or pop me, and the parents were like, this is crap. Like, what is this nonsense? Now I'm a parent that's like, what's this jiggle with Louis? What is this? What is this rubbish? I'm the parent now. Do you know what I mean?
It's when you turn into your dad, isn't it? Or like when you,
Everyone say those things for no reason. So this is now we're on the circular track, back on the circular track. Why do I keep saying that and it's not moving? This is the circular track.
You're hallucinating.
I know, man, like I'm remembering it differently.
That scene was intense, though, man.
I know, but I don't know why I did that. I wonder, like, did he know it was empty? Or was he really going to shoot himself? Because he pulls the trigger there.
He does pull the trigger, yeah.
He pulls the trigger there. Do you know what I mean? And like, I just think, wow, really?
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. But again, like, I think at that point he was probably, I'm out of here,
Yeah. So I mean, do you think it was like out of hopelessness or out of self-loathing or what was his
I think it's all of that. There was a guy I went to school with that did something and went to jail for 7 years, came out and then jumped in front of a train. So
wow.
I think you can't articulate what it's like for people, number one, in their and then when you come out and you feel like you have no options. Do you know what I mean? You go back into the same area, the same people, the same enemies if you had enemies, the same friends who was doing the same shit. Sometimes people think there's no hope, and I think probably Sam thinks there's no hope, or thought there was no hope, and it's only because he's met Lexi, the kindred spirit in Lexi, that that he finds hope here, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for happy endings, right? People don't know that, but that's why Danny's with his girl, Thingy's with his girl. He's in trouble, obviously. The brother, he's in trouble, but it's not terrible. Your mum's there. She's happy with her kid. He gets the message, the voice message. She's waiting. I've always been a sucker for happy endings. I don't know why. Even my man here gets like the girl from the beginning comes back, like, what are you doing on my doorstep? But she's there for him. And I think it's important that people
there has to be a way out.
They wanted me to cut this out. They wanted me to cut this out at this moment. I wanted people to think that he actually died for a second, and that we were just going to have, he's going to die on the stairs because of his injuries.
Yeah.
And I think the studio didn't buy it, but I wanted to keep it in, and a lot of people did buy it when they watched it. And I love this. Nothing is said here. Look at this.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, they hope on the doorstep.
Cracking movie.
Don't need to say a word.
No. I think show don't tell,
Boom. Out.
I love the way you've even done the end titles with everybody in their own little box. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, in their own little box there. Yeah, we wanted to kind of.
Is there symbolism with that? Everyone in their box.
Nah, it's just that I want people to. I guess it was a way of doing Marvel before Marvel. I wanted people to watch the titles. I wanted people to watch the titles. I wanted people to kind of see who was in the films, and I just loved it. I would do this in every movie, but I wasn't always allowed. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's important. I like it.
Well, some directors and writers have their own style, don't they? Directors have their own style, and you have your own style. That's your style.
I don't think people think that, though. I don't think people think that. And I think what's interesting is, like, these films can be, I mean, Chad messaged me the other day. I love Chad. I think people don't know that. I don't feel like, again, it's one of them things where you get called arrogant, but I definitely don't feel like people. I think people think I've just kind of fucking slapdash throw the shit together, and I don't have any actually chops, because the films are so disrespect. As much as people love them, they're so disrespected, and they're so sort of. That's the first credit my company ever had. They're so sort of shat upon because they're gritty and they're not what is expected in the business. That I don't think I ever got credit for them, really. And
but I think that's why they stand out, Noel, because fans, people like us have gravitated towards them, and as you said, you've inspired a lot of other people as well watching your movie. So it's one of those things, isn't it? You always get certain movies like this that are loved by the people, but critics and the industry themselves may not be fans of them, but
and I think also it's like people don't really, you watch these films. I mean, I nattered over the whole thing, really, but you watch them, they're quite funny, they're quite funny at times, and that's the humor that I take straight into Bulletproof. I like Bulletproof, all due respect to my co-star and everyone, like that's my humor. That's my humor. Like, yes, Nick came in and was brilliant. Ashley's brilliant, but the humor, like the trainers, that's my humor that I pulled from these things because I'm very much like that. You know what I mean? And all of us had our inputs. Ashley's great, Nick's great. People had their inputs into it, but the sort of, like that moment, that time when he says, "I'm going to punch or get," that's not funny. Telling you're going to punch a woman ain't funny. It's not funny. That's disgusting. But you just take that pause. You say it in a certain way, people go, and they're like, should I be laughing at that? And so that's kind of really what we then do later on in going forward in a lot of my films and the stuff that I'm involved with. is like I take that sort of humor through, you know, because it's naturally me. I think something's wrong with me, to be honest. I think differently. Do you know what I mean? I have an odd sort of way of seeing things. Like,
well, so that's like maverick filmmaking. You know, that's what makes cinema interesting. Is when you get the mavericks and people who don't just toe the line, people who just don't.
Yeah, but when you don't toe the line, and they don't like you, they kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and then they make shit. You know, look at Marvel and look at Disney and all that.
I like Marvel. Stuff. I'll be honest with you. If I'm honest with you, I do like the Marvel movies, but I feel like
I mean the current stuff, not the older stuff. You know.
But even the current stuff. But I look at them like, oh, what I could do. On one of them, and just I have to sit here knowing that, particularly now, I have to sit there knowing that probably will never happen because of everything. Do you know what I mean? But I know what I can achieve, and I know what I was literally about to. I was going to direct the first block of the new Bulletproof, that we were about to do. I was supposed to direct the first block of that, and I couldn't wait because I was back to doing what I do. Like, I was gonna star in it. I wrote episode 3, I think. So 1 was written by Nick, 2 was somebody else, and I wrote episode 3, and I was gonna do that first block, and I just couldn't wait, man. It was so good, and it was just I would have just bought so much of the style that we had to it, but that didn't happen in the end, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Well, if there's any justice, it will. I mean, people loved that,
loved it.
People were well into that, it was a success, and and I think as well the audience were denied that that final installment and the the promise of more for what amounts to tattletale, really. And it's just it's so pathetic. It's pathetic.
I mean, but like it was an awesome season too. Like it was so strong. But again, it comes, that show, what was that? That show does not exist without these movies. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Broken Gazamania says Bulletproof was up there with the Bad Boys films for me.
Thank you, Broken Gazamania. It was that film doesn't, that TV show doesn't exist without those movies, and I think I've always tried to. I'm a very sort of, I'm a standard guy. Like, you're supposed to be at work at 9 o'clock. Come in at 9 o'clock. Don't come in at fucking 10:30. Like, do you know what I mean? So when people go like, "Oh, it's difficult," and that, mate.
Well, in fairness, if you're under so much pressure, see, I can understand it. If you're under so much pressure, you've got this project, and you expect people to be in at a certain time, they're not turning up. Of course, you're gonna have a bit of, like this.
Well, it's like that Tom Cruise, like Tom Cruise
did it exactly, and
I was totally on his side.
Christian Bale as well.
Yeah, where's my tape doing that? There's not even a tape. You know what I mean? It's just like, exactly, man. That's just, because there's been a lot of obviously love the movie today, but even looking back at that, I'm like I wouldn't change a lot in that film. Actually, there's some shots I would change and stuff like that, but tighten it up, I wouldn't change a lot. But you think about you reflect on everything. I've had to look at everything and every sort of interaction in my whole life and everything, and kind of you just go like, wow. There were times, they're like, as I said, they made a joke, Compromise Avenue, because I was like, I want this, and I couldn't have it. But like, it's like, as a director, I got a vision. You know what I mean? Like, nobody, the actors in that are not wearing red socks without me approving the red socks. Do you know what I mean? And if I ask for red socks and I turn up on a day and the socks are blue, I'm like, why are the fucking socks blue? We said red socks. We said red socks. No. And if you couldn't get red socks, you should have told me that like a couple of days ago, and then I would have rethought stuff. So. I've had to obviously look at a lot of stuff over the last 18 months, but for me, I'm innately proud of what I've done in terms of those films, and after that, and I thank you for showing it today, and I appreciate anyone that has supported me for all the years that I've been doing this. As I'm an old man now,
Well,
Well, look at the end of the day, there's been, without saying too much, there has been a misjustice, and you know, as a fan of yours and like everybody else in the chat, you know, I could just sit by like everybody else and let this injustice. Look, I hope after everything that you're doing, and if hopefully you get a positive result there, you can work your way back up. You shouldn't even have to work your way back up, but that's the way it is in the industry.
Absolutely.
But it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you have shown us tonight how passionate you are. You come across a nice bloke. Look, at the end of the day, you know, I do firmly believe you will get justice, mate. Hopefully you can
Who knows,
get back out there and do the things that you love doing, because I tell you, you have an audience, you have a loyal following, you have a fandom, you really do. And there's a lot of people out there that stand with you, and you know, we will stand with you till the end, mate. You know, no matter how long this journey takes us, no matter how long it takes, we'll be here with you step by step.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I don't know what results there'll be on anything, like positive or negative, but you know, it's just like I'm not. It's not that of course I care, but like, you know, my thing is like, I don't care. Like they could beat me tomorrow. I know I'm not what they said, but just because they got more money and more powerful lawyers, they might still win anyway. I don't care. Like, do you know what I mean? That's not what it's about for me. It's like, I'm going to show who they are, what they did, you know, and all that. It's not really, you know.
Well, there's a lot of difficult questions they have to answer, you know, that they're not being given, frankly. And I think John White's expose on all
you know, I can't
yeah,
say no more, but I'll just say there are a lot of questions that need answering from that side that haven't been answered, you know.
So has any go on, Lee.
Go on.
Sorry, no, I was
just saying
you keep doing this. Go on.
Go on. Drawing Jack Rabbit says Mickey Smith should have his own show with Martha fighting aliens, defending Earth. You'll always be awesome and my childhood hero.
Well, thank you. Well, interestingly, can I say this? Yeah, fuck it. I say what I like. Interestingly,
go on.
Interestingly, I actually wrote a pitch for a Mickey and Martha show, which I did tell. It did go to some people, and then it just, you know, it just sort of wasn't. It didn't really go any further. But I did tell Russell about it 2 years ago, I think. 2 years? No, longer than that, because this is in 18 months. Like 2.5 years ago or whatever. And so, yeah, it was good.
Well, he's back now, he is, and apparently he's going to be extending the universe, so you never know.
I love him, man. I love the guy. I love the guy. Like he's just a lovely guy. I won't, you know, say any more than that, but he's just a lovely guy. You know.
You hear that, RTD? Get it sorted. We want it. Don't we?
Everyone will be up to him. You remember that whole channel, without even a conversation, literally put statements out that they would never work with me. You know, and we all know who they've been protecting for years, and yet they, right. You know what I mean?
No, he's right. And you look at Ezra Miller, right? Now let's look at the Ezra Miller. I know you can't say much, but he's being charged, right? And they're still going to release his movie. Now,
too much money.
I don't care how much the movie costs, right? They already canned the Batgirl movie, right? So if you're going to can a $90 million movie, right, because it wasn't up to standards, right? Well, then what's your excuse for the Flash movie being released? Because literally the lead of that has been charged, and we've seen him choke out some woman on video. But yeah, he's allowed to have his movie continued. There's you, who have not been charged, right? No crime reported, and you lose everything. It's
outrageous.
It is, man. This is why people support you.
I tell you what, I definitely don't wish bad on Ezra. What's his? Their
Don't worry about it.
They have some issues clearly, and I think the business decides who they're going to protect and who they're not. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I didn't make enough money to be protected.
It's an elitist group. It really is. It's an
crowd. It's about what you. It's about what you. You know. It's about what you earn. Like, I didn't make it.
Everything's perception. Everything's perception.
No one cared, man, because it wasn't like they weren't going to be able to buy their pool house or whatever because of me. So then no one cared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't care because it's not them. It's basically it, isn't it? And it's good to throw someone under the bus that they can, gleefully do whilst getting on and doing their own thing without being noticed.
Yeah, it's pole clutching, isn't it? Oh my God!
Oh yeah, I'm offended by this newspaper headline that has no evidence whatsoever.
Do you know what I mean? But do you know what? It's kind of irrelevant. The whole thing, and I promise you, it's not. But the whole thing could be real. It's irrelevant. There has to be due process. There has to be.
Absolutely. I said right from the start, and you can go back and see that. I said innocent until proven guilty. It's the cornerstone of a civilized society that you must have due process. You must have guilty until proven innocent. Otherwise, you don't have a society. You don't have a civilization. You have nothing. You have the law of the jungle, and that's not what anyone wants. We all want something which protects everyone's rights.
It's trial by media instead of trial by law. That's what it's become, and it's horrible.
But I think going back to bringing it back to the movie. I think when you grow up in an environment where you have no options because you feel like society around you isn't fair and that you're going to be treated differently no matter what you do, you end up doing things like they did in the movie, right? But what does it tell you when you get out of that environment and you get into what's supposed to be civilized society and they still do it anyway?
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? It's a hypocrisy. Do you know how many young guys, obviously there's a million people like, oh yeah, good, and blah, 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 blah. And my friend's cousin told me and I heard, and I know one of them. Like, it's always like, there's so many people that I know one of the people, like whatever. But you know how many young men and women, working class and or people that look or sound like me would have been like, saw me get that thing and be like, wow, I can do this. I can do this. And then 2 weeks later, just gone, well, boy, if that's going to happen to him, I don't give a fuck, and just went back out and did whatever they were going to do.
That's what I mean. That you're right, though. It would. People looking at, I mean, you getting that award, we won't mention the awards, okay, but we know what award you got. I mean, I was like, that when it was announced, I was like, now there's someone that absolutely deserves that and should get recognition for their work. And then obviously, as you said, it was literally 2 weeks later, and I was like, no, there's something. Even then, I thought there was something a bit off with that. I know we can't say much because I know I don't want to say much, but
no, we can't. Whatever, people are going to pick up what they're going to pick up, but whatever. I spoke to someone yesterday or 2 days ago who said to me, they're an academic, like work for various universities. They have all sorts of degrees, or whatever. And they said to me, regardless of like, I wasn't at any event, so I don't know what's real, what isn't real, what's this and what's that, and due process, blah, 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 whatever, the same thing that's been said. And they said, but the moment you made that speech, I knew they were coming for you.
Wow.
So the moment you made that speech about inspiring young working class people, at the moment you said that, it's like, nah, you just like, people like me ain't supposed to be there. And the last thing they want is more of us, right? So,
not so much of a diversity and inclusion.
No,
really.
he's right. Let's call it what it is. People like Noel Clarke get to a certain level. People all of a sudden start getting frightened and scared and shit. And then before you know it, then something happens, like what's
I
happened.
don't think for a second. I don't think for a second everyone's sitting there going, "Oh, yeah, let's get." I don't think for a second. It's subconscious. It's like, ooh, like something I don't like about this person, and also like I don't even think like, you know, let's not forget, you know, and I'm trying to divert it from what it is, you know, things that were said about me. I don't think for a second that like, you know, I'm not trying to ignore that in the slightest, but I don't even think for a second all those people were like, ha 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 ha. I think
I get you. Yeah,
it wasn't like, ha, ha, ha. It's a collection of things that were just gone like that, and then some very clever journalists.
It's a bit like the Crucible, you know, the witch trials and all this. You know, it's got that element of it's a weird form of conformity, isn't it? Of conformity of opinion based on very little evidence. If you look at the work of Arthur Miller's The Crucible, and you've got the witch trials going on, and
they will say they got it for everything. We got a Doctor Who question here, you know. In the early season of Doctor Who, there really seemed to be a family atmosphere around the cast with David, Billy, Camille, John, and yourself. How was it on set?
Wow.
Interesting. We'll move swiftly on.
I enjoyed.
Careful.
I don't listen.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He said it.
He's being careful. He's being careful.
I'm not being careful. I'm just like.
I'm pretty sure the cast were good to work with. Let's just put it.
No, hey, listen. No, listen. Set was great. Like set was great. Set was great. I enjoyed set. I love Chris. I think he was, you know, because everyone forgets him. Everyone talks about other people.
Christopher Eccleston? Oh no, not on this channel. We love Christopher Eccleston.
Right,
this channel.
I love Chris. And I think I wish he'd done more.
Yeah, same.
Because I think it was great, and I think, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed my time on set. You know, in terms of other people.
That's fair enough. Let me see. Have we got any other questions related to his work? No, let's keep it to his work now. Okay, this is a good one. Noel, what was your favorite part when starring in Doctor Who? Any episode? Yeah, what was your favorite episode of Doctor Who that you personally starred in? I think you were good in The Girl in the Fireplace. I just want to throw that one out. I think you were good in that episode, actually. That was the first time you went on your first mission, if you like.
A great cast in that episode as well, I have to say.
Yes.
Yeah, she's great in that. I think Boomtown, probably. Because Boomtown was the first time you got to see Mickey. If you chart the evolution of the character, you know, because a lot of people talk about the journey like of Mickey, you know. If you really chart the evolution, people talk about season 2 and then meet, you know, Rise of the Cyberman, Age of Steel, when he meets Ricky and all that. But if you really, really think about it, the first time we see a bit of fucking fire from that guy is in Boomtown, when Rose runs off and leaves him, and then the place is burning down at the end, and he's standing there watching. You're almost like, oh shit, is this guy going to turn bad or what? Like, what's going on? And then he walks off, right? I think, and then the next time you see him in I don't know what it's called, in Ep 12 or 13, I forget which one it is, when he's in the truck, that's the first time the hair's cut. It's like the shaved head, the hair's cut down. Like Boomtown's the beginning of what becomes the change. And I think people kind of forget that because they're so concerned with the last Slytherin's fucking Harry Potter.
I know the
last Slytherin that was left behind from Rallacalaps or whatever the planet it's from.
I think here's a big question. Here's a big question that I think most people are burning to ask you.
What's that?
have you suffered any sort of trauma from wheelie bins?
Oh yeah! Oh, I forgot that very first scene in Rose when he gets pulled into the wheelie bin is funny. I have to say it's aged badly now, but it's still it's brilliant.
The answer, of course, is no. Like, but I think the show was still finding its feet, you know, because
I love that scene.
Yeah, I think
it's fun
when he's turned into the Auton and he's like pizza and all that stuff. I think, you know, the first block we shot was episodes 1, 3, and 4, and so if you look at those with the Slovene and then with that one, the tone is ever so slightly different. Like ever so slightly different. It's still a little bit, because I think if you think about the tone overall of the Who now, that pizza scene doesn't quite fit. It doesn't fit at all. Like it's a bit it's a bit childish. You know what I mean? There would have been a better way to make him an Auton and looking the same, but really.
That was the question everybody asked, though. How did Rose not recognise that Mickey was completely different?
Yeah,
Mickey had a new skin regime, you know.
Yeah, I just think it was still finding its feet, man. Like at the time, you know. And then once it's shot, right? So, you know what you're gonna do, and then as the season went on, it really found its feet, and you're like, oh, that kind of scene there doesn't quite fit. You know, if he'd come out and looked the same and just was really quiet and freaky, that would be like, now you'd be like, oh, that would be the tone of where we are now. But at the time, I think episode 1, everyone was like, what do we do? Okay, it's still a kind of a kid's show, so you know, we didn't quite know how much audience had evolved into what they wanted to see yet, you know. So no, wheelie bins, no.
You got a few questions from TARDIS Time earlier on, and Drawing Jack Rabbit, who asked about any advice you have for new writers and people.
Oh yeah, that question. Yeah.
What's the question?
The question was, TARDIS Time asked, what advice would you give to someone that aspires to do what you do? Would you have any advice for anybody that wants to get into the industry? I mean, it is a tough one, isn't it? Because the way you've obviously been treated, it's kind of hard now, wouldn't it be, to kind of give advice, would it?
Yeah, whatever. I just sent you a private message there. Get in the industry. I mean, geez, I don't know, mate. Like, just do it if you want to do it. But I mean, I can't. It's a great industry to be in if you meet the right people, and it's a great industry to be a part of if you you know, if you're kind of, it's a great industry to be a part of. And then, of course, you get, like all industries and like all things, there are people that aren't great. Like, I don't know what to say. Yeah. I was someone that loved it and was considered great. And then now I'm not considered great. I'm considered whatever I'm considered. Like, it's just, you know, and I have to sit at home watching people that really do that shit still on TV while everyone claps and cheers them, you know what I mean? While I'm where I am, you know, it is what it is. You can't, there's no point in me being angry. You know, I've been angry. There's no point in me being angry. It's just, I can't change it. Do you know what I mean? Can't change it. No. So, you know, I just have to, I would advise people that who want to get into the business that make sure you love it. It's not something, because, you know, a lot of times actors don't work. So, you know, make sure you love it, you know.
You got a question here. Did you still watch the show after you left Disaster Area?
I did for a while, yeah, and then no.
No.
For a little bit, I did. Yeah, when Matt stuff was in, I watched it. Matt stuff, and you know, and then I slowly was kind of like, man, and then no.
Yeah,
a lot of fans actually. Matt was a great doctor, but Moffat's writing just kind of, we won't go there though, but Moffat's writing can be, sometimes he's on point, and then other times you're like, what are you doing here now? Like, that's the way it was with that era. But yeah,
I just kind of like, it wasn't really about anyone's particular, you just get busy, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, with life and stuff.
Just with life, and it's like, I was a fan when I was a kid, and then it was off the screen for X amount of years, 20 or 12, 15, I don't know. Then I was in it, and then I'm just doing my job as well. I loved it, but I was doing my job. So when you come out of it, you're like, yeah, Doctor Who, and you watch it for a bit, and then you just get on with life. Do you know what I mean?
You
so
move on. Yeah.
So I wasn't really.
Drawn Jack Rabbit asks again, Noel, what was it like to have to play two characters in the same story in Age of Steel?
Fine, just doing my job.
Well, it was Ricky and Mickey. I mean, the difference between Ricky and Mickey Mickey was more passive, whereas Ricky was a bit more. Well, he put this front on that he was London's most wanted, but was for parking tickets. Parking tickets, but still, it's still parking tickets. To be London most wanted for that, you want to be really doing a lot of bad driving. Yeah.
So I was really, I enjoyed it. You know, kind of getting the opportunity to do that, and I think is a real challenge. I look at it now and I'm like, oh, I can do it better. But you know, at the time, I think that was where my ability was. It could, you know, it was the best I could do at the time. Do you know what I mean?
I love when the sphere opened in that episode, and you're standing there with the big gun in your hand, and Rose is kind of looking at you because she doesn't know what's gotten into you, like, because you're like, all of a sudden you're like Rambo here. It might be a garlic, it might be a bottle, but I'm prepared. Bang, bang. It was brilliant. Yeah, I loved it, man.
It's good times, man. It's a good
time. They were good times, man.
The classic 80s fanboy says, "What are your future plans? Would you teach?"
Classic 80s fanboy. I have absolutely no idea, mate. I just wanna obviously I just want to work, but I got no idea. You know, we'll see what happens. I don't think you're allowed to. Again, with what they said, are you allowed to teach? I don't know if you're allowed to teach. Like this is.
Well, unless there's you know, something absolutely there, you know, bang, this is it, done, dusted. Yeah, I mean, this is just nothing, though, is it? I mean,
but you still have to either show your CV or get Googled or whatever, and then, like, you know, that's the first thing. I don't know how it works. You know, I don't know how it works. I don't know.
Well, you got a lot of fans here. You got a lot of people who obviously.
Do I have any props from the movies? I got a Cyberman helmet. So when in season, when that season came with the Cybermen, they made, I think there was 12 or 10 original helmets, and then they made an extra one for my birthday. Phil Collinson, producer, made an extra one for my birthday. So that season there with Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel, there's 10 originals, or it's either 10 or 12, but then there's an extra one made for my birthday, which probably, I guess now would go for a pretty penny if I had to sell it. Because it's literally one of those originals, and I've got it. I've still got it sitting there. So if anyone wants to buy it, let me know.
Don't tell Drac.
There'll be a few people in the chat.
Offers, mate. It's from 2005 or 6. Original Cyberman helmet. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean? So I'm serious. So if you come with some like good offer, you know, who knows?
There you go. Was it fun working with K9 and Liz Sladen in school reunion? And obviously Liz is not with us anymore. We all loved Liz and Sarah Jane Smith as a companion. But what was it like?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a tin dog, isn't it? Like, you know.
Well, what about Liz? Forget about K9.
She was fantastic. She was fantastic. We were mates, man. We got on pretty well. You know, we were mates. We got on quite well, and I really enjoyed working with her. And I was one of the people that definitely always had time for her. We always had a chit chat. You know, we got on, and I enjoyed working with Liz, man.
Oh, the Lindsay asks a question there. I'll read out this super chat first. One of the best scenes in New Who was seeing all the cast flying the TARDIS at the end of Series 4. Yeah, that's one of my favourite scenes as well, because you get to see everybody fly the TARDIS.
That's right. All of us around the thing. That was great. That was great.
Well, here's one from Lindsay. Who was your favourite Doctor, 9 or 10?
9.
There you go. So you heard it here first. Christopher Eccleston, listen. Christopher Eccleston should have done more than one season. Okay, we all know that. But if you look at it, we've said this actually because he wrote a book I mean, he was going through an awful lot of personal shit while he was doing that. Same with Billie Piper, actually. She was going through personal stuff as well. I mean, to produce what he did, I mean, for that 4th season, listen, he should have stayed. Definitely, he says he had a falling out. We won't get into it, but it's just a goddamn shame because I tell you something, season 2 with him and the plan, RTD kind of gave away some of the plans that he had for it. It sounded amazing, and it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But he was, I think he was great. I think he was great in the role. I was gutted when he left. I was gutted because I was like, oh, we got this guy Casanova now. Like we got man, David Tennant was in Casanova. I was like, oh, didn't you get the guy from Casanova? No, this is not going to work. And then David, obviously, he did his thing with it, and he was great. I mean, we've been very lucky with Doctor Who, the actors and actresses that we've had.
Yeah, until recently.
But I mean, we won't go into that era.
Well, I mean, I won't comment on that. I think everyone is great in their own way. I know there's a massive divide with people with that, but I think you got, remember one thing,
right? Not
many people are going to turn the job down. That's for a start.
Yeah, that's true. I kept saying that Jodie Whittaker's never going to turn down playing the Doctor.
It's not about anyone in particular, right? But no, not many people are going to turn the job down, particularly when they can be the first of, right? But also, they're saying the words that are given to them on the page, right? They're doing. They're in the stories that are written for them. It's not like, do you know what I mean? Like,
no, you've got a fair point there.
When anyone says so and so is the Doctor's, like they're saying the lines that were written for them. They're doing what they're told to do. So it's not like you come in and you have autonomy and then everyone can go, oh, they're not a great doctor because they did this, that, and the other. They're told to do that most of the time. Sure, they bring their quirks to it, but most of the time they're told to do that, So someone said, Clive, I'm going to restart my Twitch. Clive, I would love to restart my Twitch. I think it's all still there. At some point I will do, but it's just like, I don't know if I can deal with that.
Ignore the troll. It's a troll.
Yeah. I just don't know if I could deal with it, What, is Clive a troll?
Yeah, he's a troll. The mods have sorted that out.
He's been trolling this channel for ages.
See, the weird thing is, on YouTube, it gets taken down, but on StreamYard, it doesn't, unfortunately. But you don't see it after the fact.
What else was Clive saying? What else did he say?
Oh, he's been all the other ones that we got rid of.
He's been all the other ones, so don't. But my wife wants to know, what work are you most proud of, Noel? So that's a question from my wife. She wants to know what is
proud of.
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. Everything really. Just proud of all the work. There's no point in even the ones that people consider crap or that I think, that could have been so much better. It's like you can't. I don't think I'm one of those people that can just be like, it's just even the ones that are like, they're like, I'm proud of them because at the time I did them, I didn't think they were like, everything I've tried to do. Or everything I've done, I believed it was the best it could be at the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course, when you get old and you look back at it, you're like, I wish I could have done it this way and that way. But you're still like, you're proud of it because when you did it at the time, it was, and you're still learning as well. As you said, you learn every day in this industry, don't you? You're always learning. Like,
yeah, it's all part of the journey. Do you know what I mean? So like, I can't say anything in particular that I'm most proud of. Obviously, it's all part of the journey, and is what it is.
John Jack Rabbit wants to know, Noel, would you mind if I did some artwork for you?
No, go ahead, Drawing Jack Rabbit. Do it, mate. Send it.
Now what Jack does, he turns us all into rabbits. So I have my own rabbit drawer, and Lee has one. He turns us all into rabbits.
A rabbit as well.
But they look real lifelike. I'm not messing.
DM it to me on Gram or whatever. Is this Captain Robert a troll or is he a legit one?
No, Captain Robert April is fine. Yeah.
Asking about my mug. So A&W, don't know if you guys know. But A&W is like a really big burger brand in Canada, right? Particularly on the East Coast with Toronto. And when you go there, you can get your drink a bit extra. Obviously, you're buying the mug, but you can get your drink in one of these glasses, which I just love. Firstly, I love the burgers. I love the burgers, and they got one called one patty's called a kiddie burger or teen burger, 2 patties called a mama, 3 patties called a daddy, and then you can get 4 like a grandpa or whatever. And you can get this, and I absolutely love this glass. So this is now I'm an old dad right now, so this is daddy's glass. So the kids know I'm like, I'll sit there with my 2, and I'll be like, yo, get daddy's glass, whatever, and they know this is daddy's glass. So that's the A&W mug.
Yeah, you went on holiday to Canada recently. You like by the Niagara?
Mate, I just needed I wish it was just like a holiday. Like it's not, ain't that easy. And I just needed a break, mate. So you know what I mean?
Get away.
Yeah.
You're a big wrestling fan as well. So, I mean, I got confused last night when you were talking about Crown Jewels because it's actually a movie as well. And I was like, oh, I have to check that out. And then I realized you were talking about the wrestling, but you are a huge wrestling fan as well. Because you have a couple of wrestling fans in the chat as well. But you do love it, don't you?
Yeah, I love it. I think firstly, I'm not sure. All my friends have fallen away. I don't know if there's much of a bigger fan than me. I've been watching since I was 11, right? So you're talking now, it's ridiculous. You're talking now before some of those stars that were born, like talking about 35 years, right? So I've seen careers start and end, and I've never stopped watching. So I just love it. It's like, I guess it's like my soap opera. Like some people watch Coronation Street their whole life, whatever like that. It's just my soap opera, man. I just love it. If I had the size and the thing, I would have loved to have gone and done that.
Noel Clarke, the wrestler.
Daddy Noel.
I mean, Big Daddy. They were cool as well. I'd get tickets and all that kind of stuff, and like they would always interact and all that. I mean, obviously that's all done now, mate. I can't even get a ticket anymore. But they were great at the time, man. But now they just like, part and parcel what happens, mate. Everyone just goes,
So someone's asking a wrestling question there. Do you like Ric Flair? I think he's a bit. Is he still going around, Ric Flair? Is he, man? He was around in the 80s when I was watching it.
He was around in the 60s, mate. He's done now, mate. He's still alive, but
they want to know, do you watch AEW? I know there's all different companies now.
I do as well. Why is On Comics put a question mark? Did he ask something before?
Yeah, I've noticed that actually. Have we missed your comment?
Yeah. He says Captain Robert is a troll, but he's okay. Well, he's not okay, is he? Really?
Is he?
If that's not the real Captain Robert, then remove him. Yeah, if that's not the real Captain Robert, we do know a Captain Robert. That's not him.
On Comics says higher up at 10:57. He says Captain Robert, he is a troll, but he's okay. I'm like, well, he's not okay then, is he?
Well, then no, yeah, that's it. No trolls are okay.
At 10:59 on question marks. I'm like, I didn't.
Yeah, we've noticed that a few are getting in. Just make sure that you are because it's on post approval. I think
they are not a troll. I don't think they are a troll. But
whatever.
They say something trolling. We'll sort it out. Don't worry.
Anyway,
I'll try again. Cheryl says, do I prefer, is this your missus?
Yeah.
Do I prefer writing, directing, or acting?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's hard to separate them, to be honest. It's really tricky because I love acting. That's what I always wanted to do. Writing, in this time, writing's helped me because that's all I can do, right?
Yeah.
That's all I can do. So I've loved my writing in this time. I think I've written the best stuff I've ever written in this time because it's coming from fucking fire, from pain, So I've written two of the best films I've ever written for sure. And I've been told
those films ever see light of day now. I mean, that's the thing, you're writing them, but you're writing them in anticipation that hopefully things will get better and you will be able to. Are you just doing it to get through?
I'm writing them so I don't lose my mind, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I have no idea what will happen. I have to just believe they will.
Yeah. So we believe they will. We do. We believe they will. There will.
Yeah, well, it's easy for us to say, Lee. I mean, it's like it's easy for us to
the
say,
more
but
public
not for
opinion
Noel.
sways. Yeah, look,
yeah, true,
I'm not in any way belittling this situation, but I genuinely believe there is a lot of people who have a brain in their head and can see this for what it actually is, and I think over time
but it has to
become undeniable.
Has to be people that count, because no one.
Yeah, of course. They're the last people to catch on. Always the last to catch on.
No one's sitting there saying the sun shines out their ass. Like, I'm not sitting there saying like, oh, but at the same time, there's got to be balance. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be context and stuff like that. What else we got? Do I think? To work up my, I don't know what that means. At the brook. Okay, is there any more questions?
What's your favorite genre? It's all right. Someone just.
There was a time when you bulked. Oh, what's your favorite genre to write? Reality, but action, thriller, drama. Really, like reality. I think grounded stuff. Going to sort of the level of Bulletproof, and a bit above that. Probably down to like the Hood films, that sort of stuff, and just even if it's heightened, reality based, grounded. Do you know what I mean? Like grounded.
Yeah. As I said, I think there's an authenticity to what you do, and I think that it was quite groundbreaking in sense that yes, there was stuff coming out of America. But what you were alluding to earlier is that it wasn't really much in the way that you could connect with here. And I think you gave a lot of inspiration to a lot of people to see a way out, that there is this path that you can do. And this is why it's such a fucking
there is a better life. You got to want it as well, though. You know what I mean? You've got to want it as well. I mean,
but it can be done. And Noel proved that it can be done. And I think
troubles aside,
yeah. Oh, answer that question. Yeah.
Would you like to be in Deadpool? I could see you in Bounce on the Front Row. What would I like to? I'd like to. I mean, obviously, I'd love to be in the Marvel stuff, but I say, but.
Oh man, I think you'd be great in the Marvel stuff.
I always wanted to be, always wanted to be Black Panther. You know what I mean? And then, obviously, they chose like such an amazing guy. I've never met the guy, but from what I hear, I mean, I can't meet him now; he's not around. But I had never met him, and I never did get to meet him. But from what I hear, he was an amazing.
So you said earlier that you read comics as a kid. So was Black Panther one of those that you read?
Not as
I
much.
wanted to be Black Panther when I was at school.
Not as much as it sounds, because I just said that, but it wasn't one I read massively. But I just knew that there wasn't many characters. So I always wanted to him, or I wanted to be Bishop from X-Men. Bishop when Joe Maguire was drawing him, and he had the shaved head, instead of the locks, instead of the long hair. I was like, man, if they ever do X-Men that comes into the main MCU, I want to be Bishop. But now I'm probably number one, too old, and of course all this shit's happened. So I don't know, but that was also a character. Would I write a historical drama? So I did write a historical drama with some other people that was about the British slave trade, and how, because I did Who Do You Think You Are, right? And it showed my family ancestors and that my family was enslaved and owned by someone that lived in like London, in Soho or whatever. And so that really resonated, and I wrote this thing, and it nearly got somewhere. It was taken on by ITV for a time and was nearly on its way, and then of course but
see, TV execs, listen to me. We're being denied some good content here. Pull your finger out.
Well, they think, but this is the problem with the industry. They think they know what we want instead of actually listening to what the public wants. I mean, if you've got a number one show in your hands, it's not number one. It's not number one because people aren't tuning in. So you give them more of that. You give them more. That you don't cancel shows after they've become a huge success because.
Yeah, but I think and there's absolutely no justification. I just think that people thought this was going to go a certain way, and thus they tried to act before it went that way, and then it didn't go that way, and it's too late. You know what I mean? Nobody waited to see. Okay, well, let's see what happens before we make any sort of decisions. They just were like, nah, because they were told it was going a certain way.
Which of course it isn't. Anyway, yeah. As I say, it's like mobilizing the Russian army. They're too slow to get around to what is right in front of their noses, frankly. Any other questions? I think there was a question earlier on again from Jack was asking about your Doctor Who figurines, if you had any of those. Do you still?
Yeah, I think I've got a few. I think I have a few. I think I don't know where they are, man. I think I have a few unopened still. I think I have a few unopened. A couple of the Mickey action figures unopened somewhere.
Wow, they'd be worth a few quid now.
Yeah,
I never thought about that. Does that feel weird? Does it feel weird to be like?
Actually, yeah. What does it feel like to have your own action figure? Because I'd say it would be a bit weird. I know it'd be weird to have one of me anyway.
Not now.
I mean,
now. It's been like it's 2005, right? It's 18 years or whatever, like 16 years. It doesn't feel weird now.
What's your first reaction?
Back then I was amazed, man. It was amazing. And like my kids have one that they play with. Well, I say they play with. They've played with as they've grown up. Only like the third one plays with it really now, but it's it is what it is. It is what it is.
Great. Take it in your stride. I like that.
Yeah, I think
memorialized in plastics. Yeah.
What was that?
Here's another. What do you think makes Doctor Who unique, and what did it offer you as a child watching? Did you watch Doctor Who as a child? Actually?
I did. Fear made it unique. It was the only show that I watched as a kid that I kind of left it going, why am I watching this? Because it scared the Jesus out of me. Like, do you know what I mean? And I couldn't understand why I watched it.
Yeah, my earliest memory is Tom Baker as the Doctor, and I remember being more scared of him than I was of Davros. I was so engrossed. That's true.
I just remember the voices of the Daleks like terrifying me, but also Cybermen scared me more. And I remember, I think it's Adric dying, and I remember something get scraped on a thing, and he like just
the gold,
it just terrified me.
So you got to work with the Cybermen that terrified you as a kid. What was that like for the first time?
Great, but they because by the time I'm grown up and I'm there, it's like you see them take off their helmets and drink tea and eat sweets.
That's deadly, yeah. Probably have a sneaky cigarette, or something.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that famous image of a Cyberman where your man's having a smoke. Do you ever see that photograph going around the black and white?
So I saw all of that. So it kind of breaks the thing a little bit. Seeing the helmets all there, you're just like, whoa, wow, that's cool.
I know you've got one.
I've got one, yeah. Unless one of you puts.
Unless someone in the chat wants to offer them.
They can DM me. They don't have to do it here if they don't want everyone.
Oh yeah, obviously.
They don't want everyone to know how much they got.
The famous picture of Tom Baker with the Cyberman smoking. Yeah, that's the one I'm on about. Yeah, that's a famous one. Yeah.
Tired as time's going to bed. Cheers, buddy.
All right, take it easy.
All right, let's do 3 more and then I'll probably head off.
Right. So if anybody actually, Lee, do you have a question?
Andrew Tate in the chat. I love him.
Don't. Is that? Hold on.
Is that the real guy? Can you imagine?
Oh, I'd offer from you Bugatti. Oh, jeez. Yeah. He'll take that. Yeah.
Take it.
Have to sell the Bugatti and you'll get what? $1 million? Or second hand, maybe.
There's an offer you don't get every day.
Yeah, that's an offer you don't get. So, Lee, have you got a question for him, actually?
No, I won't take up anyone else's.
Are you sure? Right. Well, we'll leave it to
I can ask him something backstage before he buggers off. I'm sure.
Okay, right. That's fair enough. Yeah.
Here's one.
So 3 more questions. So the
Yeah.
first 3 questions we see,
there's one
we'll
there.
take them unless they're not reasonable. Then obviously.
Go on.
Let
Which
me
one did you see?
I think that biscuit fella is a bit of a troll, so I'm not gonna.
No, you can leave that in. You can
But
leave that.
I mean, yeah, obviously the two. Of course, the two of them are talking now.
Were you approached by Big Finish? Yes, I was approached by Big Finish, and I was actually, when this all happened, we were planning. Something was getting planned with them at the time, and it was going to be amazing. It was going to be absolutely amazing. And then, of course, this whole thing happened, and that just got scrapped. So,
there's a question I actually want you to answer as well.
And then, so there's that one, and then, are you and John? Yes, John and I are friends. That, I know a lot of people are wondering that. Like, we are friends.
Yeah, we love John. We love John.
So no matter what people whisper and blah 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 blah, I can say, yeah, we're mates. Yeah.
Good man.
How disappointing is certain actors? How disappointing is it that certain actors and people hiring industry weren't more vocal? Very, very, Raymond. Very.
Well, can I ask you? I'll ask you this question to play devil's advocate. But can you understand it to a certain point of view that some people wouldn't publicly come out and support you because maybe then, because we have seen anybody that publicly support you. We've had it as well, but I don't care. I'm just like a runaway train. None of this shit bothers me. But we have seen people be attacked on social media. Yeah. You've seen it with Sophia. She's been literally.
I do understand it, but I guess I think about how I would be, and I put a thing on Instagram the other day saying you can't expect people to behave the way you can't expect people to react and be how you are. So I kind of do understand it, but there's certain things I just wouldn't have done. You know what I mean? That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not showing support and there's outright attacking almost.
Yeah. Do you believe? Can I ask you another one? Do you believe it'd make a difference if people were more vocal in support of you? Do you think that would sway, as you say, the powers that be? Would it?
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, isn't it? Like I just know how I would have been, and I just like he said, there's being able to kind of be unsure and protect your shit and go, okay, I'm not gonna publicly support. I won't say anything, and then there's trashing. Do you know what I mean? When you know what I mean? Like, I'll say no more, but I wouldn't have certain things I wouldn't have done. Where are we? How is having kids shape your writing? I write more things as a dad, and with kids in. Would I accept an offer to come back? Would you? No, probably not.
Even if it was RTD and RTD said to you tomorrow, here, listen, Noel, I have a great part for you. You'll be heavily involved. Want to bring you back. You would turn it down, would you?
It's not really the thing is it's the network, isn't it? It's not really, if you're telling me that
it's being produced by Bad Wolf Studios now, though. BBC are only distributing it now, though, Noel. They're not actually in charge of it now.
No, it's Bad Wolf Studios. They're still because they air it. They're still the broadcaster. They air it.
Oh, I get you. Right.
So I mean, that's not going to happen.
You got Jack's question on the screen there. Would you accept an offer to come back?
That's what he's only answering that one.
Oh, sorry, I got distracted.
Right, you're on the beers, are you?
Yeah, I wish.
No, he's distracted by keeping an eye on the chat, making sure that everything is all in order.
Yeah, sorry, I was.
But someone just wants to thank you for answering the questions, my friend. Drawn Jack Rabbit grew up with the Revival show. We watched you, so grown. We love you so much. So these guys actually did grow up with Mickey Smith, like in 2005. Like, so we have a wide audience of younger members and older members, but they actually love your character. So they grew up with you, Noel. So there's a lot of love for you.
I appreciate
that. Love there.
Really appreciate that.
And I thought your character was funny as well. I mean, you had some funny moments, man. I have to say, that scene with the bin still, though. I watched it only recently because I'm doing member stream watch-alongs with Russell T's era. And I recently watched that back again. Right. And it was just, it just, even then, you could tell that you were onto something with this show. This show was going to go places. And it just improved with every episode. But I just love the whole scene as well where you're in the car and you go to meet Clive. Rose goes to meet Clive and you're there. Oh, my boyfriend just wants to make sure you're not a murderer. And you're like, just looking out the window. That's brilliant, man. Oh, no, man. You gave us some laugh, man. I have to say, some good memories, man.
Yeah, try to, man. Like, you know, again, it was, you know, Russell's writing was there and you just try and add what you can when you can, you know.
I really hope I can meet you someday. I'm sorry things have gone this way for you now, says Jordan Jack Rabbit.
Thank you.
Well,
I appreciate it.
We'll see what happens. As Noel says, he likes happy endings. And hopefully there will be one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there should. There should. Yeah. Because it's such a shame. It's such a talented person like yourself. Basically, I'll just say it, thrown on the trash heap, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
As I said earlier, it's like it's been a lot of, you know, sort of reflecting and stuff like that, and just going like having to really just go like, well, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, they call me some just harsh things, and like I know I'm not that. I know I'm not that. So it's like, well, it's done now. What am I going to do? You know what I mean? What am I going to do?
Yeah. That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, Johnny even said it, Johnny Depp. Once it's out there, it's very hard to shake this particular monkey off your back because it's even if you're innocent, you know what I mean, and you're proven to be innocent, there's still going to be people out there that think that you're this person, and that's why this whole thing by social media and media is wrong.
100%.
Everybody should have due process. That includes the person that's being accused, that they deserve due process, and names shouldn't be thrown out either. In fairness, I think, you know. So it's just this whole era, this society. I don't know. Society is just, for me, it's just
messed up. That's what it is.
It's gone backwards.
Messed up.
It's gone backwards. There's no due process anymore. There's no two sides to a story anymore. There's just, you know, someone jumps the gun, says something, and the media report on it, and then it's gospel, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Just know you're not alone. You know, that's the important thing, because we know you've been through. God only knows. But you know, I think when you're in a situation like that, it's very hard to feel that you've got backing. You know, but you do. You absolutely do.
You actually do, man. So I want you to know that. You're supported by everybody here. You've got a lot of support on social media. We've actually even seen people that originally believed what was said. Then when John obviously did his stuff, completely did a 180 and was like, oh my God, questions need. That's the thing that I would say. You know, something was put out, questions need to be answered.
I don't know where John White come from or where he's got all his detective skills from, but I think, you know, look, the thing about it is just simple. Everything has context. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, if you don't look at context, then you can't really just say it's black or white, because it's not. You know, even when people go, well, it's all crap, it's like, well, it's not all crap, but there's context that is not in there that would turn things that are blue to red. Do you know what I mean? And so it just, you can't just go, it's blue, it's blue, it's blue, it's blue. You can't do that, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's not simple.
Hey,
Dan from the Spacebook, who's another great YouTube channel. Delighted to see you all. You've made some great distinctive entertainment the last couple of decades. Hate that you've been through the S you have, but we've got your back. We believe in you, Dan.
Thank you.
We believe in you, and we believe you. That's it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I really do.
And we know you've been through a tough time because you've openly spoke about, you know, your PS. I can never get it right. PS. What's a PSD? What, I can never get it right.
PlayStation. I don't know. What are you
talking?
No,
the PS. What's it called?
PTSD.
That's the one. Thank you, Noel. Jesus Christ, Noel. That's me. I'm slagging myself off here. Yeah, but you've openly spoke about and you know, I mean, it's men in particular. We kind of find it hard to talk about things like that. But I'm glad that you're actually out there speaking about and how it's.
Yeah, just
made, because I think it does help other people out there as well. I mean,
I get loads of messages every day talking about that, and I think, you know, you get the people go, well, you're playing the. I'm not playing any victim or anything like that. I'm not discounting what was what was said is what was said. You know, I can only go, well, I know what's real, I know what's not, and you know, people are gonna find out at some point. You know, because I've not even spoken, right? That's the thing. But in terms of the trauma of it, yeah, as I said, you know, it's been I honestly, I wish it on no one. Wish it on nobody.
No, man, I couldn't even imagine. Look, I've obviously, you know, I'm in the Doctor Who fandom. I've gotten a bit of shit, obviously not what you've gotten, but I kind of know what kind of effect that has on your mental health, and it's not good. But as I said, the fact that you're out talking about it, I think helps not just you, but helps other people as well that have gone through that. So, look, as I said, I hope you get the justice that you deserve, and I hope to see you back on TV smashing it, no matter what it is. If it's weekly or a movie, I don't care, but you should be back to what you're doing.
And we'll all be there.
Very talented person, and it's such a goddamn shame. I hate. Do you know what? I've said it numerous occasions. I hate the way society has gone, and I mean, this is only probably been the last 20, 15 years. This crap has actually been going on. All of this.
Not even that long. I don't think.
It's not even that long. That's the thing. I mean, the change in society is completely. I'm shocked, mate. I'm just shocked. It's not. We've gone backwards. We've gone backwards. Morals gone out the window. People just, you know, you've got one opinion. If you don't have the same opinion as other people out there, you're just, it's everything. It's just everything.
It's conformity. It's just weak-willed people who don't, low information people who make judgments on headlines, don't even read the content, and whatever their friend says on social media, who's got X amount of followers, they follow them and they adopt the same thing. And it's sad. It's like the school playground, really. You know, it's people who just fall in line, and it's sad because it's savage. It really is quite savage how people can turn on people for no reason, or no reason based on evidence and facts. You know, things that are important when you're talking about someone's life.
Yeah,
it's not a joke.
People again, I'm not justifying it, you know, but people,
of course,
they believe what they're told, you know, particularly when it comes from places that are supposed to be reputable. You know what I mean? It's like you don't question it, because it's like, you know.
Well, I don't think the newspapers are particularly you know,
sure, but
as reputable as they used to be.
Some that are supposed to be more than others, you know what I mean? So the moment that they say boo, it's everyone jumps, you know, and that's what it is, you know. And then, you know, when you get numbers, then, you know, people go, you know, well, if 3 people call you a horse by a saddle, and then you get numbers like that, and everyone just thinks, well, that's it then. And actually, it's you know, it's hard to articulate, and I can't do that here, and I won't do that here, you know, because obviously there's things happening, but it's it's just is what it is, you know.
Someone should put you. Yeah, Ian David Diaz. He has a YouTube series on. It's called. I'm gonna be absolutely battered here now for not
Rebecca
remembering.
Gold.
Rebecca Gold. Yeah, Rebecca Gold. It's a kind of like a crime thing as well. It's actually very good. He's doing a second season, isn't he now? Apparently, he's working on a second season.
Yeah, he's working
right
on
now.
it now. He's also got one of his series on Netflix as well. What's it called? Bad. Oh, I can't remember now. Like, he's going to beat me up now as well.
Oh no, it's got to be. We forget. We're very bad. Sorry, Ian.
Sorry, Ian.
No, well, you've forgotten. Can't be his mates, can you?
Wow. Wow.
Straight out with an all. That's it. That's the way I like it. Just purchased Brotherhood. Only just realised I didn't have it. Well, good for you. Great. Because we will be doing Brotherhood on this channel, and if Noel wants to join us, he's more than welcome. But we will be doing Brotherhood like some of his other movies. So he says,
I remembered it. I remember Bad Day. Bad Day is his film on Netflix.
Yeah, with Claire Goose. Yeah.
All right, I'll have a look. All right, cool. All right, thanks, guys.
Right. Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. But is there anything else you want to add before you leave? Anything you want to promote or add, or any final words?
I just want to say thank you to you guys. I think this is the first thing I've done. So I just, I appreciate it, and we'll see what they try and drag from this tomorrow to slate me with, or whatever like that, or what they're going to use on whatever they're going to use it on. But
nothing they can use. You haven't said anything. We've talked about your work.
You think that?
I know that. I know. Listen, I'm not that naive. I know the way they work. Trust me, I really do. It's ridiculous stuff.
Just want to say thank you, and thanks for all the support. It's been great, and I don't ask for it blindly. I'm fine to be challenged and stuff like that. So yeah, cheers. I'm on. If anyone wants to follow me on Twitter, I'm on my name, Noel Clarke, and same on Instagram. And you can catch me there. They're both me, legitimately me. There's no teams or anything that run them, and so that's it, man. Come see me there, and let's do the next film. Let's do the third one when we get it.
Fantastic. We will. Well, we'll organise that one. We will definitely. But listen, to everybody in the chat as well, thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate that, and all the kind comments and questions as well. And thanks to the moderators for doing such a good job as well. Because we were expecting a little bit of grief, but we didn't get much. So that's well done to you guys. And so we'll leave it there. So again, as I said, I thank Noel Clarke for joining us. And of course, my sidekick. I can call him a sidekick, and he can't really say this time.
Well, I can say shut the
But me co-host and my friend, the guy who does all the trailers for the channel, Lee, of course. And we will see you soon, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. Good night, and take care. We will see you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.